Hello. I was wondering if I might trouble you for a cup of strong black coffee, and in the process engage you with an anecdote of no small amusement.
Hello, and
Hello
welcome to another episode here at Nerd Herder. Stepping into the NerdyVerse this week, switching it up, changing things to be a little bit stranger. Okay, hi, I'm J-Dub. That's Boop, who's looking at me disappointedly.
A little bit.
I have to commentate for the audio listeners in the future who chose not to join us live for this. Shame on you, but also...
How dare you?
I get it. There's a sport bowl happening.
Is there?
You know, good for them. Who I hope they have fun.
When does the owl show up?
It doesn't. If it does, it gets hit with the ball.
They worship the egg.
Oh gosh, it's like that one Link game where there's just a giant egg on the mountain.
You mean Link's Awakening?
Yeah, my favorite one.
Yeah, the one that you love so much you forgot the name of.
Yeah, totally. It happens. It happens.
What's up, Brian?
Brian is here. Hey, Brian. Since I mentioned how wordy Boop is, and since you're here, I figured they'd give you another word.
Oh, dear Lord,
for
do
today.
not put me on the spot.
No, just give them the one we were talking about earlier.
Dodecahedron?
No, the other one.
Oh, Manon, a noun, a disease you get from chewing too much.
There you
That
go.
is an inside joke that was a vocal stem
Tell your
for a very long
friends.
time.
Tell your friends. Manon is a word.
Manon, a noun, a disease you get from chewing
Have
too
fun
much.
with that information.
It's
buddy.
just a fun phrase to say. There's no meaning behind it.
Right. That's the most fun stuff when there's no meaning, when you can just turn your brain off and have fun. You can kind of do that with what we're talking about today.
Thanks, buddy.
But at some point, it will work its way into your heart. You will care deeply, and it will rip it out, give it back to you next year, only to take it again.
You doing okay, bud?
No, I'm not okay. Oh, gosh. So for the record, I just watched season 4.
Yeah,
So the
literally
goal was
yesterday.
to have it done by this episode, and I did. And I only started this a month ago. So
Oh, by the way, heavy spoilers.
yeah,
We're just gonna say that up front,
for sure.
just so you know.
But
We're gonna be talking
also,
spoilers.
it's been years. And what are you, me?
It's been months for season 4, though.
Months?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Only? Well, it's
January.
about time. So, yeah, I figured. And as much as I came to enjoy this show, and as much as everyone else has already been enjoying the show, yes, it's just like the Lord of the Rings series all over again. John's late to the party, but I'm here now, and I want to talk about Stranger Things.
You're at the party. Should you go ahead and show off your amazing shirt?
Oh yeah, so these came, if you listen to last week's episode on the show, I think you ordered these.
Yeah, while we were talking about it right after we cut, I went on to TeePublic and ordered some of the best shirts.
And they miraculously arrived on time. And so yes, Boop's parameters were, who's your favorite character? And that was an easy answer until yesterday. But no, I'm still very much Team Joyce. She's always right. Everybody listen to Joyce. Joyce for president. Let's go.
She is the most correct character in every season.
Other than Dustin, the most historically correct. So
yeah, but Dustin's got that attitude too.
Now that I have joined the party, Brian has learned what lie is.
Yeah, buddy.
There you go. It's for making pretzels. Everybody loves pretzels.
It's for washing your drapes.
So
for a lot of stuff.
now that I have joined the party, I have made it. I have arrived. Now we can have fun, and we never like to have too much fun just by ourselves. We need some adult supervision, and so we've invited only the bestest of guests to join us today.
It's true.
We've got Grandpa Gerry,
Grandpa,
and the lovely Lo. Grandpa.
Hey, kids. Manon was the word, right? Is that, I hear what is that, a thought form ghost? Is that what a Manon is?
It's a Pokemon.
It's a Pokemon. It's a Pokemon.
I should have
Hello.
Uncle Jerry. That would have been better.
Thank you. Oh, honestly, Uncle
show that you
Jerry.
have not watched.
I've watched some. You
Listen.
showed me some.
Gravity Falls is trending on Twitter right now. I'll have you know.
Really?
It was right before I came on here. I went and watched a video of Grunkle Stan singing a version of the Phineas and Ferb theme song, and it was magic. It was magic. So go look for that. Go look for that. I love me some Grunkle Stan. So anyway,
well, there you go.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Yes,
Thank you. Here, Lo.
Listen, I can't think of anywhere I'd rather be, and in fact, I don't know where else anyone else would rather be than right here tonight. I don't think I can think of any reasons whatsoever why anyone would not come to this stream and watch something else.
Specifically, not anything related to pigskin. You know.
No. No. Well, listen. I'm not a practicing pagan, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm a theoretical pagan. Thank you.
Yeah.
Theoretical.
Right.
Oh gosh. Well, no. Excited to have you. I was gonna say, Lo practically beat down my door as soon as Boop tweeted that I was watching Stranger Things, and I was like, that's the sign. We've got to talk about this.
Yes.
And so a month later, here we are.
I'm so excited that you've watched it. I'm so excited to talk about it because I love this show, the characters. It's so good. I'm so sad that next season's the final season, but it's going to be so good. I can't wait. And I can't wait to talk about this with you guys. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. Well, that's the right spirit to have going in because other than, again, full spoilers, really, it's just to kind of lavish in the wonder that is Stranger Things. It's a pretty phenomenal show, and there's a lot to talk about. Other than just becoming a Stranger Things podcast, the only way to talk about it and the only orderly and concise way to do it is to throw order out the window and just, pull a Vecna and just be like, no, there's no order.
There is no time. Right.
Let's just have fleshy fun.
Masamita has no power here.
right.
Oh, that man.
Vecna, the ultimate sloppy bitch, one might say.
100%.
Who loves drama. Honestly, I think
the wettest boy.
He's so petty.
So petty. No lies detected.
He is a petty wetty, and it is just it's a hoot and a half. But long before we get to Vecna, much like the show, wanted to take a semi-chronological attempt at this, just to give each significant chapter of this a due attention, because as a whole, it's really amazing, and it's this wonderful tapestry of a story. But like each season is its own crazy little universe of creativity and intrigue and just fun characters and sad moments. And so trying to hit on all of that again without just letting Stranger Things take over the podcast may be difficult, but I say we just open the floodgates and start off where it all started with season one. Now, this was probably the granddaddy of all Netflix shows. I don't know. It was
the first.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know how much was happening before this, but now like this set the precedent, I think, for what Netflix is doing with shows.
Longest running.
Except, this one hasn't gotten canceled unceremoniously. I'm not bitter about.
Be careful what you say. They are just itching. Their fingers hovering over the button every day.
Them and HBO, man.
It took away my precious inside job. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
It's crazy.
Show was so
between
good.
A lot of feelings to get out here.
Netflix, HBO, and DC. That mean, like they're canceling people left and right. Like it's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, people used to call ABC. Like they said, ABC stands for always be canceling and stuff. Those are these. That's like you said, HBO and all that. Like Warner Brothers just had a bloodbath. Right?
Warner Brothers. Anyway, that's a mess. Yeah.
Anyway,
it's
I'm
insane.
sorry.
Well,
I'm scattered. I'm very salty if you can't tell.
As you should be. Things, you mentioned Firefly, like that sticks with you.
Yeah.
Everything. It's like, wow, this is so good. There's only how many seasons? Okay.
Right.
But it speaks to what it's like, what this is able to do over 7 years. I think 2016, right, was when this started.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Because I remember you showing me and Mom this after getting back from Rogue One, which
Mhm.
understandably was the first domino in the failure of getting me into Stranger Things.
Because
I had
we just
seen
experienced Girls One for the first time. So nothing is going to top that.
Right.
it's just
fair.
yeah,
Fair.
right. After that Vader
John
scene,
was still floating like between here and Nirvana.
Oh,
Yeah.
Exactly.
you have
His
no
soul
idea.
was out of his body.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have no idea how true that is. But yeah, so this really started things off. This was the first venture for Netflix into this kind of thing. It's done so well for all of these years. Were you on board from the get-go? Were you seeing the hype? Were you seeing the interest? Were you seeing the trailers and you were like, I gotta watch it, and then you loved it? Or what was the process of getting into the beginnings of this Stranger Thing? Low.
Yeah, you know what's really funny is I was late. I will be totally honest. I was late to the party on this one. I think it was right before season 3 because it was like the big 4th of July. Season 3 was premiering around that time. And I just remember people just kept talking about it, kept tweeting about it. I was like, all right, let me, because I've heard things, but I never like got into it. So I'm like, all right, let me dive in. And I binged that first 2 seasons in probably a weekend because
Yeah.
I was just like, holy shit, what have I been missing? Like, it was just so good. It captivated you from beginning to end, from the very first episode, the very first scenes. Like, it's just, you were sold, especially for me. Like, it just gave me such Goonie vibes. And I love that movie so
Yes.
much. And then it adds like a sci-fi aspect to it. And
Mhm.
it just was just like, oh, this is so good. And, you know, again, having like the characters be kids and these are the characters you follow. It
Literal
was
kids.
so good. Yeah. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
we have seen them grown up in front of us. It's
Yeah.
insane to think about
For
that.
real.
So it was so good. I was late, but I loved it. I got like my family into it, like my dad, my sister, mom. Like, I got everybody into it after I watched it. And now we're all like hyped for like the final season, everything like that. So yeah, I loved it. I loved the and I think really when you look back at it, season 1 was really good. Like, it
Mhm.
was good. Like, it sets so much, and they pulled from it so much from like season to season, and the
Mhm.
little threads. They did such a good job like weaving this story in together. It was beautiful. I love it. I love these characters. It's such a good show. And if the rumors are true of, I think it's Steve Levi, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but one of the I think he's the writer director of Stranger
Sean
Things.
Levy?
Sean, thank you, Jerry.
Yeah.
Sean, thank you.
Bring him for the
Gotcha.
brain.
Right? Yes, thank you. Yeah, I bring him for the brain, of
God,
course.
no.
But he's rumored to be involved in Star Wars, which I gotta see. All of us are huge fans of. So,
Ooh.
like, if that's true, my mind is, what can he do in that arena?
For sure.
So, yeah. So,
It's
love
gonna
the
be
show.
good.
Love it. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love when you know it's love when you turn into an evangelist for it, when you go
Oh, for
around
sure.
getting
Right,
everybody-
right.
like
Standing
you
on
have a
street
moment to talk
corners,
about
like,
our Lord and
"Excuse
Savior.
me,
Right, yeah.
have you met Steve Harrington?"
Do you know the words of Joyce?
Right.
Let me tell you. Like,
Walk into a
this is
Walmart.
right. Yeah.
Walk
right.
into a Walmart, not much unlike a lady who walked into a store here in Michigan and just said, like, I just want everyone to know that Steve Harrington loves you. And walk
He
out.
does not. No
Oh.
joke. Today in the shower, I was looking at my hand and I was like, I should get a little anchor tattoo just so people ask me about it.
Oh, I
So I
love
can
it.
look them dead in the face and go, ahoy, ladies.
Yes.
Ahoy.
Please do.
Scoots
Ahoy,
ahoy.
ladies.
Scoot
Our
Oh,
Lord
troop.
and
God, I love
Savior,
it.
Eddie Munson.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Gerry, Gerry, what about you with season 1 with intros to this? Were you first in line? Were you a little bit later as well?
So I think I can't remember exactly if it was on drop day or a little after drop day, but I ended up getting on the boat pretty early. I always like one of proudly ADHD. One of my things I do, and I used to do a lot better at it, is I keep track of interesting things that are coming out. and I had seen the posters, and it was like,
Nice.
I was like, okay, this looks interesting, I guess. What is it? But then hearing the reviews and seeing the trailers and stuff, I was like, oh my God. So I think it was after July. I think it was July 4th it dropped, actually. I think we got back from, I was married at the time, me and my ex. I was like, hey, let's watch this thing to kind of cool down from the night. And I think we binged like 3 episodes. It was like already late, like really late. It was before we had a child as well. So a lot easier to get home and just like stay up and go, oh my God, this is incredible. And we finished it, I think, the next night, maybe over the next couple of nights. And I just remember I was born in '87, but I'm very much a child of '80s cinema, like E.T., Back to the Future, Ghostbusters. Obviously, I have a Toby's effing spirit guide right here. It's fake, but anyway,
it'll do.
It reminded me of that era of film, like it was like it's an homage to the '80s, and the '80s are my favorite. They're my favorite decade of film because I felt like they took a lot of really big swings in the '80s. And they came up with a lot of really interesting stuff. Like the majority of Star Wars originally came out in the 80s, right? Like Empire and Return of the Jedi both came out in the 80s. Very much like influenced, I think, the rest of it. I think people were trying to like, let's get the next blockbuster, let's do this kind of thing, what Spielberg and all that. But it had a lot of, I'm also a big Spielberg fan, right? I'm like Jurassic Park was one of my parents took me way too young. I was 6 years old in 1993, and they took me to Jurassic Park because no one paid attention to ratings back then. I don't know if you know this. They looked PG-13. They were like, I don't know, you got to have like
these
13 kids or something, whatever. Like,
no, we're not Mormons. Sorry.
No, and I mean, they didn't put what it was rated that for underneath it, like they did, like anyway. But I remember my parents taking me and my 2 cousins who were younger than me to see it, and I was glued to the screen. They had to make me. My mom made me turn around, cover my eyes when Gennaro gets eaten off the toilet in Jurassic Park, but I didn't want to. My cousins were scarred for life. I was enthralled because I was a dinosaur.
A whole new world open for Gerry.
But like young Gerry was steeped in like that Spielberg and Zemeckis and all that kind of stuff. And this has listen, later on in life, I kind of was like, hey, that what's his name, the guy who created it and all that kind of stuff. My God, why am I forgetting names of famous authors?
Stephen King.
I would like Stephen King. Kind of has a really cool vibe of stuff. Like I kind of got into that stuff a little later in life, and here's this show that has all of these cool things. It's like E.T. and Stephen King and all this kind of stuff like combined. And I was in love immediately. I was in love immediately. I have the Blu-rays in the other room that come in VHS looking packages only for the first 2 seasons. They haven't. Cool. I'm upset because they haven't done it for season 3. But anyway,
we need all of them.
We need them. Netflix. We want the physical media. We want it to look like the VHSs. Please
remember where you came from.
We will make it $100. I'll pay. I'm a shill.
Shut up and take my money.
I will buy 3. Right.
Yeah, that would be so cool if they did
one to consume and one to watch.
One to stock, one
to
rock.
What are you, a Black Series collector?
One to cook like a steak and eat it, right? It's fine.
That's one thing, Gerry. I like that you brought up the 80s. Like 80s was such a
steeped in it,
right? But it was so like you had those movies like Goonies and E.T. that were focused on kids, and they really like pulled that string of 80s into the show, and it was so good. Like it's so good that they did that,
right? Well, like in the 90s, I don't know if it was the Satanic Panic or whatever that like made them kind of go like, oh, we don't want to put kids in dangerous situations. But the 80s were kind of like. The 80s were like, bike without a helmet, go for it.
Right.
Like you're good. You're good. Right. And I don't want to be that kid. I'm not going to turn into I won't want to turn into one of those memes that's like, I'd drink out of the water hose and I'm fine. Because I thought that was gross. Just for the record. I thought that was gross. I did too. But I still was like, there can be a spider in this shit. And
I drink water out the hose, and now I have a podcast. There you go.
Yes, there you go. This is what an abundance of lead does to children. Is this?
right?
In boomers, it creates aggression. In millennials, it creates podcasts.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Creates
yeah,
podcasts
Nostalgia.
about niche topics, and we love it. We love it. We love it. We love it. But yeah, this just to have this thing that's so steeped in that era and steeped in. I mean, they're into like in. And again, I'm getting ahead of myself. They dress up as the effing Ghostbusters. I don't know if you
Yeah.
noticed.
Right.
Again, I don't know if
Yeah.
you see all the Ghostbuster shit in my my room here. I really love Ghostbusters and stuff, and so it's just it honestly, the show's perfect. I love it. It's one of the
Still counts.
consistently perfect shows I think out today. Honestly,
Yes.
like it's
Yes.
so good.
Agreed.
Sure.
You have opinions.
I do, but we'll have to get there.
John has
But
thoughts, but I
Well,
like
we'll
that.
get there. We'll
Right,
get
I
there.
like
I'm gonna
that.
out
We'll get
myself already. Listen,
I
Season
think
3.
quality wise, for sure, it's the most consistently deliverable
Yes.
on quality.
That's
Like
fair.
regardless of what it makes you feel season to season,
Yeah.
because it does make some big pivots too.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like
It takes
what,
big swings.
regardless of the story
Yeah.
and substance, you can't argue the quality. You know,
Mhm.
and I think if you do at that point, you just really want something to nitpick about this really good show, just
Yeah.
because you don't get it, and that, you know, just you know, take the stick out your butt and just watch something else.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I mean-
just go. Yeah, it's fine. You can go away. It's okay.
right,
Right.
like
Right.
okay, you don't like it, go watch the other stuff and leave us alone. But it is interesting that, and I think we just talked about this recently to a point. Yeah, with last week with Droids talking about Rogue One and how it magically recreated Star Wars from the 70s somehow. Like
Mm.
Rogue One so beautifully fit itself in old Star Wars. And you know, the brilliance of writing and set design and just overall you know, the picture they painted. Like Stranger Things was doing that as well in season 1, same year, where they're so perfectly putting themselves in that time capsule. Like
Mhm.
there's times when shows go old or movies go old and it's not really cringy, it's just you can tell it's not where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
stylized, but not accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this gets everything from the little life moments to the nerdier points of what was going on in the culture of youths in the 80s and everything,
Right.
to the political side of it as well. Like
Yeah.
somehow
Boy.
it got everything. It got it
Yeah.
so well. And I, you know, that's one of the things I'll always chalk up. They are brilliant writers.
Yeah.
Like the
They're
team
really
they have
good.
working on it and the Duffer brothers, like
Yeah.
they're really good at what they're doing with
Oh,
this
yeah.
this
Creating
little era.
an accurate dad that would vote for Reagan.
Oh, I hate him.
Yes.
Ted sucks.
I hate and I love him because you can tell he does. Deep down, he loves the family, but at the same time, Ted
Yeah.
is also like Ted and me would not talk at the barbecue.
No.
Oh
Okay.
no.
Like,
Ted
we
is
would not
that
talk.
Ted is that quintessential 80s dad.
Oh,
Yeah,
like
for sure.
to a
absolutely.
T.
Absolutely.
Quintessential
Language.
80s dad.
Like, right?
Like, yeah. Do what
He's
your
the-
mother says and like
Yeah. He's the
It's
80
so
dad,
good.
80s dad of 80s dad, because of the
Yes,
other ones that do
yes.
show up, he's still somehow the worst in the
I
room.
know.
Right?
Yeah.
He's
That's what-
almost oblivious all after everything that has happened.
every
too. Like,
season.
right.
Every season he's the most
oh,
oblivious. 'Cause-
wait.
So season 1 starts in what, 82, right? I think is
Yes.
is the
yeah.
year?
We got the
Or
Reagan.
is it 83?
sign.
Is it 82 or 83? Yeah.
It's 83.
83. So I get in like we're just talking about that first season, just it did give you like, oh wow, this is 83. Like the costumes, the cars, like we're talking about the signs on on the houses for the like president and all that stuff. Like it was so well done. Like you didn't. I did not even question that. Yeah, this is 80. Like this is 83.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is how
so-
it felt. You know.
Felt like a movie that era I missed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't feel like, and I just put it together as you were talking about it, because like they did have the moment, mostly for a joke later, where they
Mhm.
show a theater of what's coming out, right? And obviously we know what's coming out in 1983,
Mhm.
but it didn't lean on that as the only context clue. Like
Right.
it got into the fiber of it. And like 1-to-1, I compare that to like the later X-Men movies, like Apocalypse and all that, where it's like, oh, it's the 90s, you know, and like really trying to lean on it with the theater and some of the like mall setting. And it's just like, all right, there you go. It's the 90s, right? And then they spend the rest of the X Mansion or something. And it's just like,
right.
It wouldn't have mattered when you said it, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Freaking Eurythmics playing during one scene does not give
us
right.
But yeah, it's one of those things where, and it's hard to keep because it does it for 4 seasons.
Yes, it's so good at what they do.
It never sacrifices the setting, and I feel like for those that maybe feel like, oh, they're talking a lot about the 80s. It's just like, it's so quintessential to everything else that goes on.
It's almost a character in every season.
Yes, thank you, Jerry.
Honestly,
thank you.
It
really is.
It is. Every time skip, every moment that we get, it's kind of still, it has to exist in a world where all the stuff we know about happened, right? Like it can't just be because the Demogorgon showed up that, you know, we're not at war with Russia. Like you know, we've got to deal with the fact that we do live in a world, and we start to see more of it every season, to the point that, you know, we get international here in the 4th season. It's really interesting to see it go from the basement of a D&D club to Russia, to Nevada, like to California, all of this, like, you know, they're all over the place eventually.
To the Rinkorama.
And everywhere they go, it has to follow that, no, this is very firmly in a place. And I think it's in the best place all of this could possibly happen.
Yeah.
I don't think some parts of the story work if it's not the 80s.
No. I mean, one of the main plot points in the story as a whole is these kids can't get to each other fast enough ever. They have to call each other on these faulty old friggin'
landlines.
They're huge.
Or the old landline phones on their home. Yeah.
And
all the cool creepy stuff happens on the landlines and stuff, like right?
Well, and I almost wonder if, and you know, maybe I'm ascribing too much brilliance to the creative team. Maybe they are really just that brilliant, but I almost think it was this, like let's start with the story, and then let's start with where we can set it where it makes the most sense that these things could happen. Right? We don't want it so old that there's no technology, but we don't want it so new that technology kind of ruins our monster, or you know saves the day. Like we want the people to do it, and that's what this show does really, really well, I think, is the characters. And so to put them forefront, I think you kind of, you know, put them in this little sweet spot of, all right, we're starting to live the white picket fence life. We have things, but we don't have all the things yet. And you don't realize how much that plays into the day-to-day of what these characters are going to deal with. And so,
I mean, for Pete's sake, it makes so much sense. The setting in general, like this was during the time of a lot of government-led human experimentation. We like to think it's just like it's a goofy little conspiracy theory.
Nope.
No, it was not.
Yeah. I like how heavy that was.
Put drugs in neighborhoods.
Right. I love how strong that was in season 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I'll say.
Yes.
Like season 3, it went all paranormal and almost extraterrestrial in a way. And I like that, but I liked when we didn't know how much was filling in the gaps of conspiracy theory and how much really was ghosts and ghouls and ghosts, little spooky ghosts. My verbal dyslexia has been like screwing with me today.
I'm just imagining somebody like with a talk box, just like, is anybody there? If you're there, make yourself known.
It's a ghost goose. So you were obviously, you had to be pretty early on.
Oh yes, I was on Tumblr in 2016.
Yep. So you were right there.
Love that for you.
Because Boop was the evangelist to my mom and me, except we were deep-seated action movie pagans, and so we're just like,
I was
what is
playing
this
Dungeons
weird
and
stuff?
Dragons
Barbarians.
With my exactly. Like you guys, you grew up in Sci-Fi Town. Like that was a lot of your thing.
Yeah.
And like what I grew up with was Dungeons and Dragons, Lord of the Rings. Like, so I was getting the references that they were making with that.
Yeah, because I would almost say, and somebody can argue with me, that's fine. People do it all the time.
I will.
But this is firmly like a fantasy show
Yeah.
to me. Like as paranormal and sci-fi as some of the elements get, I feel like it's just technology inside of a fantasy story. And I almost take from it, like they name it Demogorgon, they name it Vecna, like they take from D&D, which takes from Lord of the Rings. Like they stay in this world almost, and it's just happening in the 80s. And so I don't feel like that's enough to say sci-fi for me. Somebody will be like, but there's technology, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've never really been big on fantasy. It was the whole reason I missed out on Lord of the Rings and a lot of those same vibes until much later in life.
Yeah, and I was consuming as much horror as I could get my hands on because I was pretty not new to the genre, but I was dipping my feet in more obsessively. Let's say what it is. So I was consuming as much as I could find.
The music's amazing.
Oh, the music is incredible.
Yes.
I love a good
Brennen.
synth.
Music. Real quick, the opening title when that first hit,
It's so good.
I transcended. I was
Oh,
like,
it's
this
so
is
and
old
for me,
school, yet so new. It felt so good. It was so
and
brilliant.
it never gets old.
No.
Like
That's one of the best intros, I think.
If you
Like, the
skip,
theme music
if you
is good. Yeah.
yes, if you skip the opening titles to Stranger Things, you were
Right.
what's
Oh,
right
I
for it.
agree.
I mean,
I agree.
honestly.
I listen to it every time. It's so good.
Everyone
It's-
should. Jerry, when you do rewatch season 4 soon, anyone that
Probably
goes
gonna
from
do it
here
soon.
and
Thanks to
rewatches
this.
it, watch it with captions, because seeing what the captions label the synth music is so interesting. There was one that was like rhythmic industrial synth, and it's just like, oh my god.
My favorite caption on Stranger Things is the first intro to Vecna, and it's just wet slapping noise.
Wet slapping. I think I remembered. I think I actually did watch one episode. It was like wet slapping noises. Oh my god!
If I had the forethought to work
Foley
in
guy had a bad
a
night.
game show into this episode, it would have been reading off the caption generated like music thing and making you replicate it, because like I don't know if like Netflix submitted that, they were like, use these titles or how they came about it, but it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, I mean, that first season is incredible. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh.
It does a lot to set up stories for later for these characters. If I could have one little gripe.
Sure. I have many big ones. So
most of these characters are unlikable in the first season.
Season 1's tough on some regards because of the character dynamics.
Oh, for sure. Like my baby boy.
I hated
one
Steve.
of the many lights of my life. He is an
I did too.
utter a-hole in season 1.
Yeah.
But you got through season 1, Steve, to get to season 3, Steve.
That's very true.
Honestly,
True.
season 2,
Very true.
Steve. I fell in pretty early in season 2, Steve. I was like,
Very true.
oh, this guy. Like, I love your shirt, Boop, the babysitter club. Hell yes.
So good.
The world's best babysitter is Steve effing Harrington. That's what I'll say right now. Oh man,
I think it's a litmus test for how much
He's a
light
dick.
is left in people's hearts, how quickly they can forgive and redeem Steve Harrington. Because I held on firmly until season 4. I'm not gonna lie.
It's like, how many scenes of him and Dustin and a beautiful little friendship we have to show you, John? Before
Right,
we finally get on
it was
board.
tough. Like honest, and some of it was me being cynical in season 3, but it was honestly and I can count it. I know it's skipping ahead a little bit, but when he and Robin have the moment in the bathroom after the drugs wear off and everything, I'm just like, oh, and then like, and I understand, yay, Robin, but also that was when I was just like, oh, Steve, that would have saved you, buddy. Like, you got you a good girlfriend. That would have saved you. But then he comes in and gets a great boyfriend in season 4.
He does
so
the best boyfriend.
I will not be denied my Eddie Steve domestic partnership.
The ship name is Steady.
Steady. Oh,
Oh, that's a good one.
That's
I
that's
know.
damn good.
That's
that's
really
that's
good.
perfect. I
Listen.
love them so much. Well, so for characters we do love.
Yes.
Did you latch on to anyone early on in season? So I'll say, so obviously you showed us. We watched maybe the first 2 episodes.
Yes.
And it was just not the right timing, and it was very much that thing where we like put it away, moved on, and you kept enjoying.
Yeah, I did.
And I don't know what I was doing, but
You were in the other room.
it wasn't until I don't even know what bit me to revisit it now.
I know exactly what it was.
What was it?
Because I had a really, really bad day at work. And I
Mhm.
was like, baby,
Ah,
I need to put on a comfort show.
yeah.
And you can watch or you can, just zone out. And I put on season 1 of Stranger Things. And
As one does.
Yeah.
After the first couple of episodes, you were paying attention.
Mhm.
And I noticed that you were paying attention. So I was like, you want to watch some more?
That's great. Yeah, it was definitely something you revisited, and I hadn't given a second thought until then, and honestly, in a good way. I never walked away from it hating it, so the door was always still open. And it definitely was the intriguing story and the characters that saved season 1, where I'm just like, I've got to know what's going on, and I really want to root for these guys. Like they really get me early on with the kids, and it's just like I want them to win. I want them to succeed. I want it to work out.
Yeah.
And so I bought into them, and it was just like, all right, next season, and just going from there. And so that said, any characters that season 1, bringing spanking new, did you latch on to anyone or any group of characters specifically? Specifically?
Go ahead,
What?
Gerry. All you go.
Oh, well, I mean, you obviously latch onto the kids very early on, right? Because I mean, just as a group, they work very well. I think I love that friend group and everything. There's just, I think it's a great dynamic between all of them. But I think in the first season, and going back and rewatching and everything, I think my my MVPs for the season are Joyce and Hopper, frankly.
for sure.
That's a good call.
Because you can't, and I mean, is their ship named Jopper or something? Because
Yes,
I don't
it is
know.
actually.
I mean,
I love that. I love
because
that.
I love it. And Joyce Byers, I'm gonna get on your level here for a second, John. Joyce is like, that is like the Jesus of parenting. So like honestly, the woman who is going around screaming, I know what's effing going on. I know where my kid is, and you guys aren't doing shit about it. That Joyce Byers is what I aspire to be as a parent, right? Like so sweet and so kind and so supportive of her kids, and single parent, by the way, right? Which is insane. But to have her be so just like kick butt, like she's just like, I'm not going to take your word for it. I'm going to go into the effing upside down and bring my kid out because you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything.
She knew what was going on from the get-go.
Right. And I mean, before I was a parent, I loved it. But now that I am a parent, especially, I'm like, hell yeah, Joyce, you go, Joyce. And then Hopper too. And again, we're season 1. So I'll try to stick to season 1, but Hopper for, I'm a girl dad. So reasons we'll get to in a second. Like I really identify with Hopper, as a dad and things like that. But just the way that Hopper is such is it proper to call, is Hopper's a himbo, right?
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Hopper's a big time himbo. I feel like Hopper is like that guy who was watching the Super Bowl right now instead of watching this, but he will come and go, hey, how'd it go to you?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's Hopper, right?
Yeah.
Is that not Hopper to a T? And just like that dude is Indiana Jones and Rambo and I don't know, Columbo wrapped into one. And I love him to pieces. I was so sad at the end of season 3 and everything, but I don't know, man. That was a dirty trick they played. It was a dirty trick.
Yeah.
I
had a
figured he was
funeral.
alive, right? Like we all figured he was alive because they showed that ladder and things like that. I'm skipping ahead, but Hopper and Joyce for me are just they're up there. And then every time they introduce a new character, I usually love them. And then John, as you found out, it's bad to love the new characters.
I hate it.
Yeah,
Bad to love the new characters. You will get hurt.
It's like
You will
anime,
get hurt.
man.
As soon as you let me know that you were watching the finale, I immediately sent Gerry a text with like the Michael Scott.
They did. It was the best.
I love you for that so much.
They did, and I was like, "Oh, Godspeed."
I can't wait
I've
to
done
talk
this
about
side of the crust a lot this episode, but that's how I feel about
Right.
Stranger Things.
You need it. There's a lot of demonology going on.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about season 4, guys. Yeah, like I remember because context clues, it's hard to not know about Stranger Things stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I remember season 1 being really disappointed with Hopper because I'm just like for the majority, because I'm like, this is not the guy I think the internet fell in love with. Like, how are they gonna do? Like, how are they gonna redeem him?
He starts off so small.
And already by the end of season 1, they started to get me. But season 2 is really where I think he steps up and steps out as a character.
Oh God, absolutely.
But nonetheless, it like even as unlikable as he got at some points, I think he was always relatable for me in season 1, which made him a very likable character. Where it's just like that's exactly what I would do, and that's why I hate you for it. How dare you do what I would do?
Right.
Disgruntled, very much loves coffee, very much like John, actually.
Yeah, you know what? And that's the thing. I hate that in season 4 they got rid of his gut because I was just like, I felt seen. I felt so seen.
Listen, he was in a gulag, okay? Like,
the Hopper bod going on, man.
Yeah.
Listen, in the next season, the man is going to be like binging on Cheetos and stuff.
I hope so. I hope so. Yeah.
Back in his what is it, Magnum PI shirt and everything.
Right. It's going to be like this weird jump of just like, because like the way season 4 ends, though, it's going to start right there. Right. But I still want him to be fat, and I just don't want anybody to acknowledge it.
What if he slowly just gets bigger over the they put him in a fat suit throughout filming, like a little bigger every episode.
I love
always
that.
with a jar of peanut butter too.
Like, listen, I was in a gulag for like a year. Okay, lay off.
Yeah.
What about you, Lo?
So season 1, Gerry. I mean, I completely agree with Gerry. The kids worked so well as a group, and if they don't, if that's a miss, then the show obviously fails. But it did such a good job with those characters and those group of kids. Like they did such a good job. So initially, I mean, you got the kids were great. I think that's obvious, but I agree. Like I think for me, the standouts were Joyce and Hopper. Specifically Hopper. I love Hopper. Like his attitude is just like I just loved him.
He's a straight girl boss. I love
it. Yeah. Like he was such a great character. Like his I'll get to it, or coffee and contemplation. Like you loved him from the beginning. And then you start peeling those layers back of like he had a daughter and
oh God,
you get it.
And then you just start like, oh my God. And then you really start like loving that character, and then obviously we'll get to season 2 and beyond, but like, I loved his character. I love David Harbour. Like he is
for sure.
I love him so much.
He is an amazing actor.
He really is.
People to get that. Like,
and then if that relationship of Hopper and Joyce doesn't work, I think you miss a lot of season 1 too, because those two are so important. Obviously, outside of the kids. You don't have that. Like if Winona Ryder and David Harbour don't connect and don't have that really good chemistry, that's another big piece of the show.
Yeah,
that
they're
the
they're
only
really
adults-
the,
They're the only adults who take anything seriously.
Right,
Exactly.
no, no,
right,
no, no,
exactly.
even worse, they're the only adults. Like if you watch this show,
Mhm.
they're the only consistently present adults.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who
Ever.
care? Who
Like,
listens?
Right, right.
They are
I
there.
cry. I cry when Joyce Byers starts talking to 11 when she's getting in the pool. I cry
Oh,
because
so
that kid
good.
has not had that.
Right.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
cry
Mhm.
tears.
Instantly
Real
became a
tears,
mother there.
y'all.
And that's
Yeah.
Sorry.
and so
You're
many
fine.
so many of the parents find out in
Strong
season
boy.
3. Like we saw what happened in not even season 2
No.
and 3, where it's just like they clearly know government stuff is going on.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
And you
right,
still
right,
don't know
right.
where your kids are
But
right
it's the
now.
80s.
Like
What's gonna happen?
Mike's mom didn't ask anything about him in season 4.
Of course not.
They put that boy on a
Listen,
plane.
she
sent
was
him to
reading her romance
California.
novels. Okay,
Like,
She's in the tub. John.
she's in
That's
the
the
tub.
one thing I love
Ted's eating chicken.
is
right?
is Mike's parents. Just again, it's such a classic. Again,
They're
like just
consistently the worst.
it's so bad, but it's so 80s and like
Yeah.
her
it
her
plays all the tropes.
hairstyles. I love from
Oh,
like
yeah.
season to season her hairstyles. He's just the same. Like
Every season.
just right, right.
He
Just
never
the
changes.
same.
That-
Doesn't like care what his kids are doing. His wife's taking care of it. Like it's just such a classic 80s trope, but they do it so well in
Oh
the
no, it's
show.
believable as heck.
Right, exactly. You're just like, I know
think
it's a
that's
trope,
them.
but like you're right. But you're like, I know it's a trope, but like it works.
Yeah.
It works so well. And then the only other really parents are I mean, I think there are no other adults
No.
beyond Hopper and Joyce. None of
never
them
really
like
see
you see them, but like
Dustin's
they
or
don't
anybody's.
care. Yeah, they
It's
pop
honest-
up.
it's honestly-
they pop up,
honest-
but they don't really like.
Yeah.
It's amazing that they
anything.
keep getting the parent actors back because they
Yeah.
come back for like 2 scenes.
You see
Right.
Talia Henderson having a conniption fit
Right. Oh,
in
yeah.
every scene she's in, and I love her for it.
Oh God,
I think
she's precious.
Yeah.
Next to
Mike's
Mike's
parents are the
parents, I
only
think she
ones that
gets the most.
consistently come back. I feel
Hell
like
yeah.
they're the constant. I think other than Joyce and them, but I think they're
Right.
only there to show how literally
Yes.
oblivious everyone is.
Yes.
Yeah,
They're
they're the
everybody in the
representative.
town, right?
Yeah,
they
they're
represent
the representative.
everybody.
Mike's mom just wants to F the lifeguard, and that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
It plays all the tropes, man.
That's the
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, yeah.
Boop.
Yeah.
Because we're still on season 1, 45 minutes in.
It's fine.
Favorite characters.
Okay, so I'm watching Stranger Things.
It's Boop's show.
It's no problem. Like I don't care. We can go all night. So the thing that made me love a character so immediately, it's a very small thing, but Dustin Henderson walking past Nancy's room and offering her pizza, and you get the most adorable smile of all time. I was immediately like, I've only had this child for 5 seconds. But if anything happened to him, I would kill everyone in this room and then myself.
Yes.
And I keep that going into season 5.
Oh, for sure.
If you touch a hair on Dustin Henderson's head,
I was really worried in season 4, not gonna lie.
Snap.
No,
Not
yeah.
gonna lie.
Any of them. Any of the kids. I am
They already
like,
got to the kids, Jerry. They already. I'm sorry.
Hey.
I'm still not over it. I'm sorry.
hey,
I'm so
Oh,
yeah.
season
worried
4,
for my
man.
children. These are my children. These are
I
my
feel
children.
I feel like Dustin was really a standout out of the group kids. Like
Absolutely.
his character was just perfect. The actor did such a good job with it.
Yeah.
And like again, he's the foul mouth kind of like passionate friend, and like it was just so good. And you
Mhm.
fell, and you did immediately. I was with you, Boob. You fell in love with him right away. Like
Oh,
right
absolutely.
away. You know?
Just a
He
sweet
was-
little
he-
boy trying to be cool. That's all he's trying to do.
Right.
He's always been my favorite of the kids.
Oh yeah.
Like all the way through, because and it's an odd thing, but he's got the least going on. Like all of them get some significant plot. And Mike gets his relationship with Elle. as well as relationship with
Yes, he
Will
does.
and the rest of the gang. Obviously, Will gets his relationship as also being a pseudo antagonist in season 2.
Mhm.
Lucas gets Max, which also then puts him at odds with the boys. And Dustin's just having fun. He's always fun. He's always
He's consistently
relieving.
funny.
And yeah,
Dusty, I love Dusty Bun. Like
I think
Like Dusty
the
Bun.
worst happened to him. Like the hard stuff happened to him in season 4.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
we got, for
Yeah.
me, like up and even still through that, but for the 3 seasons, like he's always the relief. I don't know. I just feel better when Dustin is on screen, when he's on his adventures, be it with Steve or Eddie or with the gang, whatever it is. Like, I don't know. He's my comfort character for sure throughout all of it.
Yeah.
I can see that. I
Yeah.
can see that.
And obviously Joyce. I love Joyce because she reminds me so much of my mom. And if anything ever happened to me, that's exactly who my mother would become.
100%.
So,
oh God, Joyce Byers, man, the patron saint of angry parents.
She's indomitable,
love it.
man. She's just
I'm telling you, it is the Mount Everest of I want to be that. I want to be
for
that.
sure.
I don't know what that even means, the Mount Everest of that. I don't know why I even said that, but
Well,
it's just it makes sense because she's so
Mhm.
high, yet it's like I want to be. That's what I want to be. You know,
I haven't found anything irredeemable about her. Like there's she's done nothing wrong. And at no point has she ever been on the wrong side of things. Like it's always for the best
Always
interest
right.
of her kids, her family,
Always right.
the community, always right.
Every
like
single one. Every single season, she is the right one.
it's so good and incredible and comforting to have that in a show, because like so many shows take the more realistic approach and everybody's flawed and everybody's got something. And I get that, but there's something really nice sometimes about just having a character that's always the bedrock, you know. She's the one all the other characters lean on, depend on, and go to. And you know, things are better.
Even the other adult.
Yeah, literally. And things are better with Joyce Byers in the mix for sure. So
and even in season 2, she gets even more of that like super mom status, because she's actively working out, trying to figure out what is going on with Will, what she can do to help that. And you know, you get the best almost stepdad of all time in season 2 as well.
Oh, why'd you bring it up? But Joyce is the mom. Joyce becomes the mom to all the kids too.
It's
for
true.
sure. For real.
She is like Din mother.
Yes.
Like
she is. Yeah.
She treats every child as her own child.
Yeah,
Right. That's what I love about Joyce Byers.
In season 4, they make a joke about it that the kids are always at Mike's house, and it's just like, you know why? Because y'all don't pay attention. Like if they did this at the Byers' house, like she would be all over this. In fact, she'd be leading the meetings.
It's true.
And then season 1, 2, in season 1, 2, like she would be calling Mike's mom, talking to her, and they would be so dismissive of her because they thought she was kind of like out there or whatever, being that single parent, like, you know, right. But she was always right. Yeah, she was always right. Season 1 and on, she was.
Joyce for mayor of Hawkins, man. I just
really.
They need her.
Yeah,
that's her slogan. You need me.
Pull the character Joyce Byers from fiction and put her into the White House right now. That's all.
Please. Or just Winona Ryder. I think she's pretty great too.
I like
Queen of the World, please.
Oh,
Winona Ryder, great. Yeah,
I've had me since 1993, man. I just seriously.
Gag of the century. Winona Ryder does not think that she's hot.
I mean, I can't.
How dare she?
Does she have eyeballs and ears?
No.
I'm gonna go and give her a stern talking to.
Like, man. I love that. Real quick on her. There's that meme of her like when they were getting an award, and like she's looking all like confused or what.
She was hot.
My favorite. My favorite gift of all time.
She looks adorable when she's like confused. Like, come on.
She's so down to earth and everything, and I think that's probably why she thinks of herself the way she does. She in so many ways is so normal compared as a person to other actors and colleagues and everything, and so it's pretty crazy. But yeah, there's a ton of people that are so glad she is who she is and plays the character she does. Because man, like I can't imagine this show without any of these actors, but especially her.
Wouldn't be the same without her.
No.
Well, we're already knocking at the door of it. So season 2, you know, not a lot of time to spend on all the theatrics of what goes on, but basically the Upside Down starts leaking in, and the Demogorgon gets through, and that's our first clue of this other realm and everything. And it's really funny how like how much of a pony show they make of the Demogorgon in season 4 to remind you how far everything's come.
Yeah.
Because like they take the main antagonist of season 1 and they're just like, oh yeah, it's a dog in this one.
Bark,
Like,
bark, bark.
you know, it's like
Dog in this season too.
well, true. The Demodogs come in.
You said it like Doug Dimmadome.
the Doug Dimmadog of the Dimsdale
Dimmadogs.
Dimmadogs.
That's a dated reference.
You're welcome.
But yeah, so like this season's different because so I want to clue you all in and everyone listening on how little I knew about Stranger Things. Okay,
It's a miracle that you were not spoiled on a lot of things.
would you believe I didn't think that they saved Will until the most recent season? Like
It's true.
I thought like
Yeah.
that scene of him crying in the car was just like, oh, he's back. Cool. Because all I saw the first time was he died, and that was it. So I was just like, oh, he's gone. He's just gone, guys. Like, what? I don't know what to tell you. He's gone. So him,
God, he would have come back wearing a Demogorgon or something.
he would have been Vecna.
Yeah, he would have come back like that, man.
It would have been interesting. I don't know why or how or what possessed me to think that, but yeah, all I knew watching the original first couple of episodes was that he died. I didn't get the original season 1 reveal that he's still there. He's on the other side. The government faked his death and everything. So not only does he live, he becomes integral to season 2 because he came back with the Mind Flayer. And so we trade up antagonists now and get this sort of invisible enemy. Also, 11 is living with Hop in the woods now.
Very adorable. I love season 2 hair so much.
We start to establish a lot of the tenets that become big players in 3 and eventually 4 with this one. So obviously I wasn't expecting what kind of play outs happened in season 2. But were you at all like surprised by what pivots this took from season 1? Did it make sense to you? How did the follow through of this? Because like, look, I know you said you watched like season 1, season 2 pretty back to back. Do you think that that helped you just digest it? Like, oh, this is the natural progress, or what?
Yeah, I think being able again, and this was one of those things where Stranger Things, it wasn't a week to week thing, right? This was a very new concept back
Just dropping it
then.
all at once.
Just dropping it all at once and being able to watch it consecutively. So having that and being able to see the progression of like season 1 to season 2, I felt like it made sense. The story was good. Again, everything's connecting. Will, you have those pieces of what Will went through in season 1, pulling into season 2 and like the ramifications of that. And then again, you still have those storylines of, Hopper and Joyce and their connections. And then the kids too. The kids still have like their kind of group thing going on at this time. But they are getting older now though, right? You can see like little things, like just little, like as a kid or somebody being young and growing up, your mindset or things that you used to care about, maybe not so much. Those just little things start changing. But I mean, I loved it. I think 11 really shined in season 2 for me personally. I love Millie Bobby Brown. Like, I think she's done a fantastic job with this character overall. I love what they did in season 2 in just her progression. And then even that little like side quest of her going to Chicago and her learning about other things. Like, I know at the time when you kind of think about it, like it felt weird, like, oh wow, this is kind of a weird shift of like where the story was going, and then like we follow 11 at that time in the season. It was kind of like a left real quick, but then we kind of got back on the track for sure.
Mhm.
But I think her journey, though, I think it was a big part of her finding out where she came from, who she is. Like, it's a big part of
And
her overall story,
and
and
who
it
she
fit.
Yeah.
can be.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. So again, like the season overall, I liked. It's maybe not my quote unquote favorite season, but I loved. There's so many good moments of Dustin and Steve in season 2.
Yeah.
Like the buddy friendship really obviously kicks
God.
into gear, and it's so good. And then you get peak Steve. Like this is peak Steve season 2, and you are off and running. I
Mhm.
think in season 2 with Steve, like,
For sure.
and then you get obviously again the Mike's sister, who I'm blanking on her name currently, but
Nancy.
Nancy, thank you.
Mhm.
Like again, you get a little bit of her more, like you get a little bit of these characters, and we meet some new characters. So it's a great season. Like again, I think it sets up a lot moving forward. It really did for me. I liked it. I liked the season. I liked the change of, from Papa to the new people that are running, the facility now, and
Yeah.
everything that goes into that. Obviously we get Bob, who, we love Bob.
We love
We
Bob.
love Bob
Patron
a
saint.
lot. Patron saint of Bob.
Bob
It still
newbie
hurts.
superhero.
Oh, it still hurts.
still-
It is.
It
That was
still
that was
hurts,
hard.
Bob.
Easy
Damn.
peasy.
For
He's
the
such a nice.
I know.
Joyce
Right.
deserves
Nice
a man like that.
Right.
Like just
Yeah.
a
Right.
friendly, really kind, like good
Yeah.
to you guy.
I remember
Whoa.
I remember very early on watching season 2. I this is something that stuck out with me for some reason. Is I remember I'm like, is Bob like a good guy? Like it felt, I don't know why. Like at
He's
first,
so good, you almost
yeah,
think,
and like
yeah,
was he like
what's your
was he
angle,
part of
buddy?
like like was he like being told to
Was he a
watch
plant?
them?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right, exactly. Like for me,
Interesting.
I don't know why that like very early on, like that's how I was feeling. But then obviously you see like no, it's
Honestly,
he is
that
who
almost
he is and everything like that. You
He's
know,
just a sweetheart.
that almost makes it worse
Yeah.
because it's just like as soon as he sells you that no, he's the real deal and dead. It's just
right,
like,
right. No,
It's
exactly.
like, oh, you know what? I'm on board for Bob.
Yeah, yeah.
Bob for years, and then
Right.
no,
Right, and then they take him away. Like, so
That's
yeah,
interesting.
but it just felt like I don't know why. Like I think back then I was thinking like, oh, maybe he's like somehow possessed by the mind flare, but like the weird
that
theories
would've
I
been
had
interesting,
back
though.
then.
Oh yeah.
I
Back
remember
then.
people
Interesting.
being
You
upset
know?
with him for telling Will to face his fears.
Yes,
The
that
man
was a
did
weird
not
thing.
know
Right.
he was dealing with the Cthulhu level
Right,
threat. He did not
right.
know.
Right.
He
But-
didn't know. Leave
But
him
my
alone.
my thing is, so
Sorry.
it seems like a failure. Like I love that
Mhm.
whole scene with him and Will though.
Oh, it's good.
He's trying
and that's
to
what
be,
really-
he's just trying to be a good guy.
Yeah, and that's when I was like, I loved him as a character, but that was when I was on board because again, I could see already in season 1 the chemistry they were going for with Joyce and Hopper.
Yeah.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very much in that, and it's just like, then they introduced this guy, and I know it's Sean Astin, but come on, like he's in the way. But I really quickly became Team Bob because of just his spirit and who he
Yeah.
was, and seeing
Yeah,
him.
he's just together works a Radio Shack.
He tried.
Right. Radio
Good
Shack. too.
guy.
He
Radio
tried to
Shack.
impart that to Will, and
Oh.
initially it's like a failure, but
Mhm.
in the end, Bob's advice does win. Like Will does stand up to the mind flare. Like it's still the essence of what he was going
Give me a
for
cry.
that helps Will in the darkest time. And it's just like,
Yeah.
it gets there, guys. It gets there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Because I remember I was just like, oh, that's cruel. It's just
Yeah.
like, no. And then,
Yeah.
but yeah, Bob's amazing. I love Bob. and-
He's so good.
The way that they focus on him, like getting sucked on by the
cruel.
Demodogs.
Oh.
It's so bad. They know what they're
That's
doing,
rough.
and I don't think
That's
they're
rough.
being mean. It's like it's supposed to make you hurt. It does its job.
Mhm.
Because this man, I'll go ahead and say, all you ladies out there, I'm a Bob newbie when it comes to relationships.
Still works at Radio Shack.
He still works at Radio Shack.
The only Radio Shack.
Deathly
Still
afraid
running.
of dogs.
I wish.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah,
You'll never see me and dogs in the same room,
Right. Just I don't know. Like I love that he got his hero moment and stuff, and like you think it's like you're right. Like the way that it's masterful and also what is it? What's the word I'm thinking of? It's also very evil. The way they're like, he's okay, and then boom.
Yeah,
he goes through so much. He goes through so much.
Yeah, like I will
will
say, as much as it sucked, I got it.
It was it works so well.
Bob works for me, and that's part of why, like in season 4, it doesn't. We'll get there, but I'm just saying, like, I get Bob. I don't get it when it keeps happening. I don't like it. I don't agree with it.
I don't accept it either.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's tough. And I love though too, because he was useful. He wasn't just the nice guy. He wasn't just arm king.
Right.
He figured out the map.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, he
God, that was such a fun thing.
And again, when you're comparing Joyce's boyfriends, it's just like, oh well, but Hop will actually save the day. No, the one who saves the day is Bob. Like,
in the end,
it's just like, and what's he get for it?
Yeah,
chopped.
I mean, he gets that. I do feel like that they, in the later seasons, I feel like they give him a certain sort of reverence.
Yeah.
In the later season, would I've rather he survived? Yeah, absolutely. But I do feel like that he was something that made the characters realize he's like that Obi-Wan Kenobi almost kind of a thing of like, we got to do this. In fact, isn't that like a thing in the 3rd season for Bob or something almost? Like, isn't there like a part of that? Maybe I'm thinking of that. There's like, I want to remember.
There's a picture that Will drew on the fridge.
Oh, right.
Of Bob.
Superhero.
Yeah.
Real superhero.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I'm going to cry.
Then I'll start crying and then we'll be in
But just the guy who's just trying to be there, right? The guy who is literally just like, I'm gonna spend time with you, because that's a lot of what kids need, is just being there with them. Right.
And he got them on a deeper level because he was them back in the day. We get those context clues throughout the story.
He's the original founder.
He's the nerd. He's the older nerd.
Yeah,
like saying, "Hey, I get it. Here, you know." Oh man.
We're just
anyway.
Yeah.
So
season 2 is basically just like, Bob, yay! No.
Wasn't in season 2 was when they was a Halloween when they dressed up as the Ghostbusters?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Which was so good. Like that.
It was so perfect.
That conversation
season 2 had the best trailer of any of the seasons because it has Thriller playing throughout it. It's like it's got the part with Vincent Price where he's like talking about
and Brennen mentioned it earlier, but yeah, like the music for this is so
so good.
And
it's so good.
They start to realize how good they are at it, not only picking the songs, but like letting the songs bleed into the shots and scenes and how they edit. Like you start to see it here, but it plays out more in like season 3 and 4.
Yeah.
The ends of the episodes, so I am convinced that I don't know who picks out the music for these episodes. They're the best needle drops of all time. In fact, I contend that the best needle drop of all time is, I forget the exact episode, but it's in season 1 where Barb gets taken in the pool and it drops to Hazy Shade of Winter.
Yep.
It's like she gets pulled in and then it goes. It is to this day my favorite needle drop of any media.
For me, it was like I liked quite a few, but it also plays to like my musical foundings. But in season 4, when Separate Ways starts playing,
you know,
when they start hitting the final mission.
It's like a remix of it too,
Yeah, it's a
right?
strip-
Like it's
it's a
kind of like
stripped
it's
down-
remastered.
It's just the piano,
So
and
good.
all you get is the piano and the lyrics of the
It's
first
so
part of the
effective.
verse, and that's all you need. That's when it's just like, oh yes, let's go kill a Vecna, man. Like I'm ready.
Yeah,
Let's go get this
exactly.
wet and
Let's
sopping
go
boy,
kill
man.
Freddy
Like,
Krueger for
And-
real.
And then obviously in season 2 we get Max, who's a huge
I
character.
Yes!
love- I
How
love
can-
Max so
And
much.
her-
Hard to look
and
back
her
at season
brother.
1 and realize that Max isn't there.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
like integral she is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
In
she
the later
fits in
seasons.
so well.
Honestly.
yeah.
It's Billy.
We get her brother, and just it's again these characters. The ones that they
Was
add
Billy in
each
season
season
2?
were really
Yeah.
good.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Their season 2.
because he picks
surprising.
her up from the arcade.
Yeah.
And he yells at her for being
Yeah, because in
late.
season
car
it's
and all
after
that
he's more,
stuff.
it's after he's more disgraced after the mind flayer frees from Will.
Yes.
and that's what. Okay, yeah,
You
yeah,
just get scenes of Billy being a total a-hole in season 2.
right.
And it just
Billy-
further digs him in as the worst character on Stranger Things.
Well,
But
worst.
then I
worst.
will say, you see I'm pretty sure it's in season 2 when like she goes like she runs out with the guys.
Yeah.
His dad is asking where she is because
yeah.
then you get those little sprinkles of like how he was like
what I mean?
obviously
Cycle
like-
of abuse. I know.
See-
right.
how I feel?
We get it. Like,
It's
but
a cycle, but break the
Right.
fucking cycle. Excuse
Forget-
me, I'm
and
sorry.
then-
I'm
but
sorry.
then
Break the
him
cycle.
flirting
I'm
with
you.
Mike's mom was like peak. Oh my god,
That
this
was
is
so that was
Yeah.
really so season 3 Billy before the Vecna or not the Vecna. And anyway, we're not a
the
season
mind.
3 yet. I'm
So
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
I
actually
do-
I'm
I do
not
enjoy that.
clear on that. I'm not clear on what predates what. Like
do you mean?
mind flare. Like the kid's
See-
theory is that mind flare is the one, and
Yes.
Vecna serves him. But it seems more like the Vecna has had control of the mind flare.
I think that's correct.
That
that's how I
I
take
think
it. That's how I
Really,
take it.
Mind
To my-
Flayer and Demogorgons are in this, and we're getting hot way ahead. They're in. It seems like they're in the dimension, and this guy Vecna goes in there and is like, "Oh, I'm going to use this to my advantage."
yeah,
Like, I
yeah,
don't-
because
He
I'm
creates-
just
not
like the
sure
Black
how
Widows.
sentient Mind Flayer is now, but it seems. I don't know. Like maybe he's
Yeah.
working with. I don't know.
don't know.
I'd have to rewatch it. I have to rewatch it.
He's
It-
definitely not corporeal until like a couple episodes into season 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Season 3, the monster in season 3 is my favorite.
I
So
love
gross.
that
It
thing.
is so. It is so the thing. It's John.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
Carpenter's
love
The
a
Thing.
big gross monster from the 80s. Like I just you win me. It's so
Yeah.
freaking good,
Also,
and
it's one of
so
the most
nasty.
horrifying things I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no,
Go
no,
ahead.
no, no. Yeah, I mean, I was saying what you're about to say more beautifully.
It's well, thank you. No, it's so horrifying the way that it creates itself. Is that it's like making people eat. It's metal as F,
It's
man.
it reminds
so
it reminds
crazy.
me of the Blob because
Yeah.
like that's the thing is the
Yeah.
Blob grows with everything it consumes, you know,
Mhm.
and it had a 50s 80s
Yeah.
um
It's like a disgusting Katamari Damacy.
right. Yeah, it's just it's so gross, and I love it. I love the resourcefulness of this non-corporeal thing where it's just
Mhm.
like, all right, last time I had
I think
something
these
with a
people melt
conscience,
themselves.
you know, like
You know what? I'm going to vibrate so hard. You
right.
explode.
I mean, pretty much. But, well, that's the thing, right? So he had will, but will had too much like spirit and conscience,
Yeah.
right? And so he
Mhm.
learned real
Yeah.
quick. I need something dumb and meaty, and I need to explode that, and then just make this giant mass
Yeah.
with it.
You know what? You're
Mhm.
going to eat dirt and then you're going to explode.
Listen,
That was an interesting thing. to
John,
me.
I need to know
and chemicals.
what is everyone's immediate reaction. Is I don't know if are we moving on to season 3 and everything.
I think we're there naturally.
I mean,
yes,
I-
the one thing I did want to say with season 2,
yeah.
I really felt like, and it's stupid, but I felt like
No.
season 2 was just season 1 part 2, whereas
That's fair. That's really
like,
fair.
it feels like it plays right immediately in, whereas season 3 is the biggest time skip, and obviously it takes a huge leap in what's going on. They think they've beaten it. The mall's been built. Like all of these things start to play. And so season 3 was when I felt like they really got their feet deep on doing something bigger and weirder and different.
Yes.
And so, and season 3 is my favorite.
Yes,
I will say season 2 real quick, that last shot of the season when they're in the school dance and then you start flipping, doing the turn.
I can't
good.
listen to that song anymore without thinking of that.
Right.
That is the creepiest song in the world to me now. Eldritch being is watching me.
They did the upside down songs very well. Like, you know, it instead of just making it some stripped down eerie version, it really feels hella unnatural. Like it unsettles me in a deep way, and you know, it plays again in season 4's final battle too, where it's just like lots of feelings.
Season 2, real quick, Paul Reisner, we get his character.
Yes, Dr. Owens. Okay, so like I
real MVP, that guy. Okay,
with the 80s, with the 80s. All right, I freaking love the Alien series. Okay,
yes, you do.
I love them. The worst character will always be Burke. I don't care. He sucks, but Paul Reiser has completely redeemed himself.
Absolutely. I think while we were watching season 2 to 3, I was standing behind you, waiting for you to notice who that was.
Who is this guy? I want to hate him. I don't know why, but I want to hate him. And you know, and I'm like, they're clearly playing off of the themes. It's just like, oh crap, he's the company man. Like, you know, I was like, he's the plant. He's lying. He wants 11, and it turns out he's one of the best characters.
It's true.
Ever. And I hope he's okay.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. But yeah.
So, but yes.
You mentioned aliens. What I love about this series is that every season is like, it's like you got the blockbuster in the first one, you've got the blockbuster sequel. They play it's aliens because there's more, right? You up the action, up everything. Just like they do the series, like the franchise, like sequels. Every season feels like, oh, this is just the third movie. This is the fourth movie. This is it feels like they did that perfectly to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
franchise film series.
That's what you get with the third one. Like whenever you reach the third in a big franchise, it's just like, all right, we've got to go weirder. Yeah. Like we went more last time. Let's focus on weird this time.
Lean into horror.
And so I think you were going to start with something on season 3, Jerry. Before we went back.
It's funny you listen, we are so in sync on this stream. It's insane. What was I want to know what everyone's reaction was when the rats started exploding in that episode.
I'm pretty sure
because that's the first time you realized what the hell is going on. I remember watching that again. Like I think that's the last one I watched with my ex-wife. We were both like, oh, what? Why? What is going on? What is happening? But like, what was your reaction when you start seeing these rats? Like, to me, that's the litmus test of like, I want to be in the room with someone when they're watching, seeing the first 2 seasons, and then all of a sudden,
something like that is so ridiculous. You do not expect it. It comes out of absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
Who comes up with that?
I was watching it and started immediately cackling because I was like, "Oh, they're gonna do humans next."
So I don't.
They're gonna explode people.
I think it was the cheerful way you did that, Jerry, that just made me think of MICKEY.
Mickey Mouse.
Like my mind went to, like you already mentioned, like. It was one of those things of clearly some other influence. I'm thinking The Thing. I'm thinking, like some upside down virus. Like, I was of the mind, Mind Flayer had to be kind of like dealt with, right? But clearly not quite. And I guess in a way he is a virus, or it is a virus. Yeah. But it was interesting to see
like a demon.
How he went from like, oh, I'll just take this kid, I'll infiltrate, and then we'll open the gate and it'll all work out for Lord Vecna.
Yeah.
Went from that to, all right, I've got to play chess with these kids. you know, because season
I
3
gotta go to the
really
real
deal-
world and kill these kids.
Yeah.
right. You know, and when at the same time, like he clearly learned from his mistake too, and it's just like, I've got to get that bald one. Like I have got to kill that girl, because that's the biggest problem for me. You know, like that's the biggest threat to the Upside Down. You know, and its motives. So I was definitely thinking Thing, but like the last 40 minutes of the Thing, where it's just like, we're not really hiding anymore. Yes, we're not really hiding anymore, because
Like that kind of stuff,
once the rat goose started moving, I was just like, oh no, no,
no, I'm done. I'm done.
So I loved it. I'm trying to think of a time that made me cackle, like with this. I can't think of too many. There wasn't too many joyous moments when watching Stranger Things.
Season 3 in a few minutes.
The first episode of season 3, I'm like laughing because you got Dustin and Steve. This again, season 3, peak Steve to me. Peak Steve.
In his tiny shorts, his matching shoes, and
it's so good.
Noted ally Steve Harrington.
Confirmed
unless Steve is also, but
I was gonna frankly, you know where I fall on that map. He is pink, blue, and purple all the way through. I don't.
Hell yeah!
The bi-energy between him and Eddie in season 4, man.
Steve's learning some stuff about himself in season 4.
Right there. He's got to get out of the heteronormative drudge that he's in.
I imagine
the
80s. I know, like at this point, it's really hard to stay in line, but it's just like, you know, the scene when Eddie's just like, you know, I only came in after you because those girls jumped in first, and I wasn't going to be the only one left. And I just imagine, like, in that moment with Eddie, I'm just going like, you jumped in after me too. Like, I didn't hear anything, before that comment. It's
just completely confirmed with Harrington's got her. Don't you be?
Eddie.
Let's talk about season 3.
Anyway, season 3.
Another thing, season 3 really, we kind of touched on it too. The budget went up. You could tell.
Incredibly.
Production, the special effects, really, really, again, peak stuff. And again, you see just how it was back in the 80s, where malls were coming in, small towns, and these like mom and pop stores falling apart. And, you have Nancy and Jonathan working at the newspaper, and like how they treat her is such a,
such
an 80s trope.
But that guy finally melts. When that guy melts.
Yeah,
I a part of me comes back to life.
Right? No, I totally agree with you, Jerry. Like you were like, yes, you deserve that. You totally deserve that.
That's the only person in that season who deserved to melt.
Right. Fair.
Only
fair.
No. So what I loved about season 3 was how much it returned to form on, I think, the political conspiracy theory going on, and how the mall literally was covering up for what the Russians were doing.
Right.
Like I don't know, like little things that were just interesting in season 1, and season 2 kind of like played it as a reason why what they were doing to help Will and whatnot was so important, but it really felt more like a crutch to give him the treatments because they wanted to understand what they were dealing with. Now this is full-fledged, like, no, this is like, we're starting to get into the bigger political plots of, we're trying to save our friends. They're trying to like find and get a weapon. Like they're trying to tap into this other side. Doesn't matter what repercussions it has. Like they never see the play out of the mind flare in his goo form, right? All they know are these Americans come in to blow up their machine. They don't see the effects of what happens when this gate opens up. And so it's just, I think that was one of my favorite things about this was definitely Robin, Steve, and Dustin's little Russian manhunt and all
and
that.
Erica. Don't forget Erica.
Can't spell America without Erica. You gotta love it.
Very true.
Remind me of Erica.
Oh my God, Erica!
I hate her. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
I love her
I'm
so
so-
much.
I love
She
Erica.
is so annoying.
That's
She is
because
so
you're an
annoying.
only child and you've never had siblings.
I am like,
She's
oh,
the quintessential younger
Yeah.
sibling.
her like
So much.
she
The
redeems
listen,
it.
the way
It's okay.
I want her to do every like contract I do from here on out in my life. Like I want Erica to
Oh, she'll
like,
get the best deal.
Erica knows
Yeah.
how to work it. Okay.
Don't get me
Yes,
wrong.
I love Erica. I love it.
Season 4, her attitude is used for good.
Oh yes.
For sure.
Right.
It's fair.
She's just coming into this. She didn't know anything existed at this
yeah,
point.
Yeah.
Like,
Full younger sibling attitude going
It's
on here.
just a
And I'm
fact.
just like,
Just the facts.
my
I love when she
gosh.
says that.
yeah.
I think as character wise, and I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on this too. You know, I think for me, 11 still strong. I love what
Oh,
they
yeah.
did with her in season 3. Really big stuff. Again, you can't deny the Robin. Yeah, you can't deny the Robin, Steve, Dustin trio. Like that was peak.
Them as a
Stranger
unit.
Things
Yeah.
was really, really good. Again, the two that I wish, and I don't know if they are setting up more for obviously seasons, this season, 5, but like Mike and Will a little bit for me personally took a big back seat in season 3 and in season 4, just a little bit. Not that it bothered me, but like for me, especially with Mike's character in season 3 was just very it wasn't like it was previously for me. But I kind of get it.
Hormonal boy.
Yeah.
And I get it, right. It was very like kids of that age, teenager, like all that stuff.
Mhm.
It makes sense. But like, in season 1, he was like the big integral part of like the group. Like he was really putting things together. And season 2, huge, same thing.
Oh yeah.
But season 3, again, it just felt very like, I don't know if they didn't know maybe what to do with his character, or like they were just like, well, he's in a relationship with Elle, he's different, which made sense, and then Will's trying to find his way through it because he's been through so much. So like, I would just love to get your guys' thoughts on like, how did you guys feel about a lot of the character, either development or maybe lack thereof, if you felt that way, like within season 3, I think that I loved 11, and I loved like again Steve, Dustin, Robin. Again, Robin, new character, beautiful. Maya, hot, well, good,
Amazing.
good. So I would again, I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on how did you guys feel about season 3 characters' growth or lack thereof. What do
You gab for a little bit.
Okay, I'll gab. But yeah, you are 100% correct. This is Steve Harrington's shining moment, in my opinion.
Yes.
In Scoop's Troop, absolutely fantastic. Robin is an amazing character. You get that so rarely when you get a character introduced and you immediately love her.
Yes.
Fantastic. She's
so
got both the best attributes of both of her parents, in my opinion.
Mhm.
And then, like I said, Mike pissed me off.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Boop. I'm with you.
Mike was very prepubescent boy who had a girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Like, I never had a girlfriend at that age, so I can't speak to it. But I knew guys like Steve, or I'm sorry, like Mike. Excuse me.
For sure. I mean, the way that he treats Will in that little scene where they're trying to do a D&D campaign, that was so like kitty teenage boy. I got so grumpy. During that scene, and then you get the scene later when Will's running out, and you get the blow up of it's not my fault that you don't like girls. I wanted to smash his little head against a wall.
Like
so bad.
Because it is so like, again, I'm with you, Boo, because in the first 2 seasons, Mike was the one that wanted to get Will and believed that he was still alive and believed they could get him out. Like, and then to do, but you get it, like kind of Gerry was saying, like you get it, like you get like the age and what's going on, him and 11, which again, I love Yeah, I love this is peak Hopper for me in season
Oh,
3.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is peak Hopper.
Management
That is
of-
Hopper in his
God.
element. Hopper is finally having a good mental health day.
That-
Everything goes wrong.
When he's
that-
driving
honestly.
after like he gives it to Mike like the next day or whatever, going to tell Joyce.
Yes,
That is one of
on
my
top of the world.
favorite. Yeah, when he's listening to that song. Oh God.
Well, and that was the first clue. He was being set up for the big, climactic ending, the cliffhanger, because he got, honestly, I think the most development of
Fair.
all the
Fair.
characters.
Yeah.
I think you're hitting though on why I like Will the most in season 3, I think.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the spotlight moved because of what was going on with Mike. The spotlight was kind of shared by Will and Elle in that. Like Mike's just kind of in the middle of these two characters, and we're seeing how they're both dealing with Mike kind of coming into his own. Because, obviously a big part of it too is that, Elle and Mike have their troubles in this season because they just aren't quite
They're
getting
not
it.
communicating.
Yeah.
Nobody talks to each
Typical
other.
teenager stuff, right?
Yeah.
For sure. And so it's just like, this is Elle's first time really like dealing with, well, I thought I loved him. I thought we were, good. And Max kind of assuring her, if it's just like, no, you will be okay. It's like, this is not the end of the world. Like, I loved that girl day they took. And
that's
everything.
one of my
Yes.
favorites.
I love
I
it.
want Elle to have all the good things in life.
Yes.
All the good things in life, please.
Her and
Will.
Max were perfect. Like that whole relationship, really good.
They
in
both
season
needed
3.
each other
Oh,
in different ways, and I love that. But and so Will doesn't really get to have that. Like on the flip side, Will struggled so much in season 3 because he missed out on so much that like he's the Hobbit in this Mount Doom situation where it's just like the only thing keeping him together is thinking of the Shire, thinking of friends and family and D&D and all of this, and none of those things are really concerned with him anymore. And it's really tough, and that's all I see in Will that whole season is like things are changing, and I didn't think they ever would. And there's honestly, sadly, not much of a silver lining in season 3 or season 4 for that development with Will. Not yet. I really want.
You better have the best.
I have predictions
of
when
all of
we
the
get
characters.
there.
I
have a big prediction.
I want him to have the best ending because I want it to be that finding it within himself happiness. When it's all said and done. Like I do hope it all ends well for all of them and they're all still friends. But Will, more than anyone, I think represents that part of our lives and those people that really need to find it in them to be the reason to live and go on and be happy. Right? Like, yes, D&D, yes, friends, yes, family, but
Yes,
like,
Nintendo.
do it for you,
Yeah.
And so,
what I want for Will in
What?
season 5? I want a scene with Murray where he just looks at him, looks at Mike's, and goes, "Really?
yeah.
You can do better, son."
Murray, by the way, Murray season 2, right? Like he came in season 2, one of the best characters of all time.
Yes.
Murray is the MVP. The way that he takes no bullshit from anyone, and he goes, "You two need to lay in bed together."
Right.
Do
Right.
it with every character. With every character.
When they save the world, that is what Murray's going to do: is become just a counselor, like a couples counselor. Because say what you will about whatever they did after they left, Nancy and Jonathan were better for Murray. I'm just saying.
That line.
That's fair.
I love it.
So Jonathan,
what does he say
I was
in the
pull
season
out.
2 that makes it
He never ceases to amaze me, Murray.
No.
Oh man, what does he say? Jonathan choke on his eggs in season 2?
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
said, oh man.
Innuendo after innuendo, this guy. Like,
He's so funny.
no
I love
shame.
season 4 when he's like, "Do you like risotto?" Oh, Murray's the best, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's season 3. You've got Murray and Alexi having
Oh,
yeah.
sparking
That's
up.
a
Another
great-
character
Yeah.
taken too
literally
quickly from
at
us.
the fair.
Yeah.
Literally at the fair. He probably didn't even get his fried Oreos. Like, my
Starting
guy
to have
just
a
won
good
a
time.
unicorn stuffy, and you're gonna shoot him now?
It was Woody Woodpecker. Sorry.
Oh,
I know
It's
strangers
fair.
make
so
Painful.
brutal that Murray is there looking at him as he
Mhm.
gets shot. Oh my god.
It's
It-
tough.
Terrible.
it was tough
Terrible.
because and
This
what
show,
hurt.
I hate this show.
So I don't know what it was. But obviously he comes into play, and for whatever reason, you said something, and I heard that as he'll make it, or he's one of the good boys of the show, or something that led me
Yeah.
to believe he was going to be okay.
No, yeah. It
And I
was
felt so
literally-
betrayed. I felt
We were watching the show, and I'm looking at the screen going, man, I love Alexi. He's one of the best characters of the show.
yeah, I guess I took that as, oh, he's got a card. He passes. He survives. He
No,
makes
he
it out okay.
Literally 5 minutes before he dies.
Oh,
Oh man.
Oh.
The
Like,
more
what did you
pure, the more pure of heart you are.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not going
I'm
anywhere.
sorry.
kills me.
Yeah.
Kills me.
I don't. There's a lot of pure of heart characters, but just like
Oh,
yeah.
like if you were new and you're pure of heart, oh buddy,
Mm-mm.
buddy,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
run.
The world is so alive and new and vibrant. I've been shot. You know, it's just-
All he
Well,
wants
that-
is
like,
a cherry Slurpee.
If you're new and young and full of life, and yeah,
Yeah.
you're not for long for this world.
I feel the same way with Billy's character. Again, I think you get
Yeah.
huge leaps and bounds with him in season 3, and it's
Season
that was a gut punch.
yeah.
Gut
So
punch. Gut
with
punch.
Billy sucked because it was one of those things where he was such a powerful character on the wrong
Mhm.
side. And it's
Yes.
just like, okay, imagine what he can do when he comes to the light. It's just
Yeah.
like
Right.
you start to
Yes.
learn so much, and it's just like, oh, he needs a new path. He needs a new way. If he gets there, these kids are going to be unstoppable. Can you imagine Billy, like with him and Eddie and Dustin in the Upside Down jamming metal and just slaying Dima beasts? And he would have been right at home.
Billy would have had like an effing battle axe or something.
Oh,
just,
yeah.
going
Yes.
through there,
Yeah.
right?
He would have been
Yeah.
so metal, and I think it's the lost potential, and I think that's what's
Yeah.
It's a
unlike
tragedy.
unlike with Bob and Eddie. I feel like that's the most like rightly applied like loss,
Yeah.
where it's just
He
like,
wouldn't have been able to come back from
yeah,
that.
like the lost potential is
Yeah.
what hurts with Billy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where, no, like it wasn't potential. We saw Bob be awesome. We saw Eddie being awesome. They were amazing, and they should have kept being amazing. With Billy, it's like, no, he could have been.
Yeah.
And we just don't get that. And it's sad because
So painful.
he did terrible things. Okay. He did terrible
Right.
things. But
Yeah.
I'm
Not under his own like consciousness, but he still did terrible things. Right.
Have you ever heard Dacre Montgomery speak?
no.
Just in general?
Mm-mm.
He sounds exactly like Billy, except in an Australian accent.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
That's
that
not
reminds me
fair.
of,
That's just not fair.
that's
so-
awesome.
Well, so Billy and Max's relationship, I think, is done very well
Ooh,
because you've
yes,
got
yeah.
the way they do. I hate your guts, but I love you.
Yeah.
Especially the most heart wrenching thing about him. I mean, his potential for sure, absolutely. Because I was not a fan of his until like those last few episodes of season 3. I was still like, oh, I hate this guy, I hate this guy, I hate this guy. You see what's underneath the layers and everything, you see the humanity there. But the worst thing about his death was the way it affected Max.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
The worst thing. Because it's heartbreaking. That's what was affecting me. Is I was just like wanting to reach through the screen, hug Max, be like, it's gonna be okay, it's all right. I'm sorry. I'm
Well,
sorry.
That's what I love. Like season 4 deals with that
Oh yeah.
Like it sucks, but they deal with it because
Yeah.
and I think in its own way, that's what it was. It was the potential. Like, Max even says, like, I think we could have been friends, like a real brother and sister. That hurt.
Mm.
Hurt
That
so
part of
bad.
Dear Billy hurt because
This show hurts.
it
so
all of a
bad.
sudden put it all in context of
Mhm.
like Max has always just wanted things to get along and be good and
She wanted a brother, yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like that's part of what was so irritating about him is it's just like I think you're pretty cool when you're not being a total dick. It's
Yeah.
just like the potential of Billy is one of the greatest losses of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I think season three did a really good job as far as season 1 ended, and you get that kind of final shot of like Will with the family, everything like that, and then season 2 again, like it seems like everything's okay. Season 3, how that season ends, and then
Heartbreaking.
with
God.
we think that Hopper's gone.
Mhm.
And then, Joyce is moving with the kids and Eleven's going with them. Like, it's not a happy,
Mess of tears.
it's not a happy ending to the season. Like,
No.
But
but it pushed into season 4, which
if not for the after credits though, which aren't even quite after credits, I think, but like they don't let it linger long. But like, I could have believed season 3 was it. Even as frustrating and satisfying as it was, it felt
It's an
like
ending.
an ending.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it felt complete. Complete.
Russia's got a Demogorgon just hanging out in the basement. Like, we're just gonna drop that.
And also,
Okay, we're not
American.
done. Right?
Yeah. Now
What
he's
does
in
that
charge of the
mean?
country, that Demogorgon. Oh God. I guys, sorry. Get us
Oh, yeah, it's
Mm.
one of those things. Like I was thinking back to it because I had a very, very difficult time with season 4, and I remember thinking back of just like, could I have just stopped at season 3? Could that just be my ending? They go separate ways. It's not the best and happiest, but it's not season 4, and it's
you
near
had a tough time.
it's near impossible. But some part of me chooses to believe that they're all happy in California and Hawkins just went about being normal and boring again.
Eddie is sneaking in and out of Steve's window.
Right. But in reality, something happens in season 3 that really opens the floodgate. And there's kind of no going back to normal, clearly, because like literally the most cataclysmic and again kind of world impacting stuff happens in season 4. Like this is on the big screen now. Like there's no more hiding the gates or pretending about what happened to this character, that character. Like, nah, hell is breaking through into our dimension.
Literally.
And so it escalates so much in season 4.
I'm not sure if it was a fan-made poster or if it was an actual promotional image, but there was something from season 5 that literally is the sign of Hawkins that is someone spray painted it onto Hell Comes to Hawkins. I'd like to think that that's a promotional thing.
Right. Like, well, but yeah.
It's
I mean,
true.
that's the spirit going into going out of season 4, but as far as going to season 4, so like before getting into my feelings, I want it to be largely positive. So I'm hoping that literally everyone else here at least enjoyed season 4.
I loved it.
Like what went on, happened, and where it's taking things.
Yeah, I mean, season 4 does so much for the individual characters, not just as a group, but you get so much character development with each of the kids, not just this is the party separate. So what are you going to do? You're going to develop those characters separately. You get a lot of Mike kind of coming back to that likable dude. He's still a friend.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Will could do better.
Yeah.
Get Will finally kind of not quite coming out, but you get him dropping hints very heavily in the back of that pizza truck. You get another one of the best side characters of all time, Argyle.
Oh, God.
yeah,
Argyle.
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 everybody needs to like Argyle, man. And my gosh, where is Eden? Is she okay? Is she
Eden
safe?
okay?
Because Eden and Argyle need to get together and that's chemistry
Yes.
real fast, real heavy. I loved it.
I cannot say the word schmacked. Any
Schmack.
other.
I love him. Like I needed Argyle. I
Yes.
feel like they knew. Like
This show needed an Argyle.
This
real.
season, there were times I wouldn't have made it through if not for his funny little meltdowns where I'm oddly enough relating to him and his moments of just like, what in the world did y'all just do? What is happening?
And then you get the other best character, who is one of my favorites of the entire show. You get Eddie Munson, long live the king of metal.
Wow.
It's so good. So good.
Love him.
Made me so sad.
Season 4 didn't hold punches.
No, it did not. It hit every single time with every episode. It just got progressively worse.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The way that they
100%.
made it wait too. Like it came out during Celebration, so I had to wait till I got home.
Oh my God. Me too, Jerry.
Remember? We talked about it.
Yes, we
at
did.
Celebration.
That had to be miserable.
I had to stay away from spoilers.
Yeah.
And to wait until July 4th weekend again. Like they they released it July 4th weekend again. God, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch the season again, like because I've only watched through it once, but first time they've ever done a part 1, part 2 kind of situation.
I don't know, but I liked it. I was totally fine with it.
It was
I was fine with it too. Yeah, absolutely.
It was a saving grace for me because I couldn't have every other season was a straight through, and I know I said I'd let everybody talk, but it plays into it. So every other season was easy to get through, easy breezy. I loved it. I had to go to the next episode, find out what's going on. I wanted to continue.
Yeah.
Season 4 was in no way like that for me. Like
it was intense.
I dreaded the next episode every time, and I needed that break in between because it's just like it took 2 days. It took time where it's just like that's as much as I can handle right now.
There was a point where you turned to me with the most like sincere expression on your face that I've ever seen while watching a show. Is like, is Max going to be okay?
Yeah, it was just like soon as everything y'all are talking about is true. It didn't pull punches. It was a slog, and I think I was on the other side of that where, like, in one way it's tantalizing, but for me it was traumatizing. It was just like, I'm not enjoying this. Like even the previous seasons where stuff happened, even when Bob, even with Billy, even with everything, I'm still loving the overall. And this was the first one where it's just like.
The last time I saw you smile during the was right after Eddie's cafeteria scene. I looked over
this
you.
This is my year.
You were just smiling so big.
Well, because Long promised one of your favorite characters, and
as soon as I saw him, I was like, "Oh, John's gonna love this guy."
Absolutely. Someone I was Dustin. I was, at the mercy of this illustrious and enigmatic leader. Like he's so crazy, so fun, and such an antithesis of, the rebellious metal nerd movement. And I loved him dearly as a character, and he lived up very instantly to all the promise that the internet that you had given of Eddie. And so he was a saving grace for a good bit of it. But even then it's just, it's like the contention I have with Ben Solo, where it's just like the potential, the things going on with this character are so good and interesting. And you're telling me there was no way that they couldn't just live like we get this great moment of growth where he doesn't run away. He faces the battle, he helps his friends. Like, I love all of this, and it's just like, just because you couldn't explain away what the town thought of his crimes or what, like, why, like, what valid reason, like, throw him in a Winnebago with Steve and let him ride off into the sunset. Screw Hawkins.
Go smoke weed with Argyle. I mean, come on.
Right in the passenger seat with their 6 little nuggets.
Right. Cut his hair. Nobody's going to recognize him anyway. Make him wear slacks for one day in his life.
A mysterious British accent all of a sudden.
I don't know. Eddie's the antithesis of why I struggle with this season. Like, it's inarguable quality. Don't get me wrong. It's really good.
Oh, yeah.
It's just really tough.
Well, it's like watching your children go through a meat grinder. Like this season, frankly. It's hard.
Yeah, season 4 was rough.
Really hard.
Yeah.
It's
good.
Oh, yeah.
But it's hard.
Yeah. Well, and we were just recently talking about that, where like so many shows are doing that now, where the whole point is to just throw as much trauma at the screen as they can, apparently. And it's like, and like, to something only you will get. But it's just like, I now understand what it's like for you to watch The Butterfly Effect.
I hate that movie so much.
It's called trauma porn for a reason.
I hate it.
Where
I
like,
can't watch
have
it.
you guys seen that movie, Ashton Kutcher?
I haven't. But
it's been a while. It's been a while, but I remember
so many VHSs I owned as a preteen. I know what it is. Yes,
it's so depressing.
It's trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma. Right? It's just bad ending over and over, and no matter which way you cut it, it doesn't have a happy ending.
No. It's one of those movies you follow up, like how when My Neighbor Totoro was in theaters, the movie that they played before My Neighbor Totoro was Grave of the Fireflies, which if you've ever seen that movie, you know that you need a My Neighbor Totoro right after that movie.
Don't
that was The Road for me with Viggo Mortensen. Most depressing ending of all time to me.
The book is worse.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I was this is just getting. I just got progressively sadder.
Right. There was always a part of me that really enjoyed The Butterfly Effect for some reason, though. I've always thought that was still a really good movie deep down. But like, I get it now. Like, season 4 did that to me, and it's just like, oh, I get it now.
Now you understand why I was in the other room.
No,
for most of it. I was just like, I can't watch this again. I'm gonna come in during certain scenes, and then I'm just gonna leave again.
And it's not bad. Like I said, we were talking about it from the context of just like, I can't watch every show that's happening right now because so much of it is that.
No.
So much of it's like, to be interesting and relevant, we've got to be edgy and traumatic. And it's just like, I got to have fun.
I mean, as good as it was, I haven't revisited Andor at all. I can't.
Yeah, I remember.
It was that intense.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, listen, Andor's too true to life at this point. True. I mean, frankly, the space Nazis are here.
Well, and
crazy.
We were talking about it off camera before we started, though, too. Like, part of it's the Satanic Panic stuff in this one too, where it's just like, like, I instantly had the worst time watching a movie when I watched Halloween Kills. When the
that's rough too.
Town cult started going crazy and just mobbed the psych ward and everything, and I instantly just was out at that. From that point on, the rest of the movie, the last 40 minutes, I hated it. I couldn't turn back from there. There's something about mob mentality stuff that just deeply bothers me.
John Evil dies tonight.
It's one of it's one of the scariest things. Like, I watch so much stuff,
frightening,
but like, seeing people be bad people like that, which is so believable. I'm like, I can't.
I mean, like you were texting me during Jason Carver's biblical speech during
that town hall meeting.
It makes you so uncomfortable because we know people like that.
Yeah,
right.
There's people I believe that would follow Jason Carver, and that sucks.
Yep, all 2 halves of them.
Yeah, right.
Death of the season.
That was so.
That was
utterly satisfying.
That was spectacular.
That boy melted. That was just so.
I think for me, for season 4, I like what they did as far as, again, connecting to previous seasons, previous ideas that I think were there, but they really, I think, showed it all now in season 4, because again, I think season 5 is going to be like that. Obviously it's the last season, so they gotta really hold no punches going forward. But I like that slow reveal of Vecna and it being one. Like that was really, really good. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Again, the Elle going through what she went through with Papa, and that, oh man, that scene of them
Bringing that full circle.
when she, that was good. That was really, really good. Yeah, a lot of good moments in season 4 for me. Like, just it's good. Like,
and I want to get to more because I don't want all John had a bad time, but so I want more. I want to get more into the positive, but I also because you bring up one Vecna Henry. I want to
/, was it 1/Vecna/Henry? Is that what they say?
I wanted to ask because it's just something that was curious for me because so was it a twist for you? Was it a moment with all of that coming together, or was it always kind of obviously there?
For me, it was a twist. Like you kind of start slowly seeing it, but you're just not sure. And especially when they do those flashbacks of like him super young as a kid, and like you see it from like the one perspective, and like you think it's the dad and all that stuff, and then again, once that slow reveal of, oh, that's him, oh, he did it, like then the wheels start turning. You're like, oh my god, how did I not see that before? That's insane. But like they sprinkled it very well, I think, throughout the season, to where like maybe you thought, maybe you knew, but then when they revealed it, you were like, oh wow, like that was big. That was huge. And again, showing 11's like time in the facility and in the Rainbow Room and all that stuff, like that was really, really good. And it's just well done. And again, like her whole journey, I think Millie she was, for me,
this was the biggest season for her.
Oh peak Elle, peak Millie Bobby Brown. Like, she did such a good job. And
she
like,
was an X-Man in this movie.
Yes. Like she did such a good job with her character. Like from the beginning, like you see her, obviously we know in season 3 she loses her powers. She has those moments in the school where she's being bullied, like, and you see that, like, it's so tough.
I wanted to just
when she hit that girl with the roller skate, I was like,
good job.
Yep, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. She deserved it. So like, but then you get her going to the underground facility and all that stuff. It's so good. And again, I love, again, the crew at Hawkins, of Robin, of Dustin, of Steve, of Eddie, of Nancy. Like, it's really, really good. Like, I loved that. And the California stuff was really, really good. I liked Elle's stuff more. But again, you learn about, with Will and Jonathan, their like brother friendship, brother friendship is like really good in that season, especially in that we talked about that in the pizza shop, that scene.
The
it's
best
really, really heartfelt.
Season 1, I think.
For
Will and Jonathan.
Because for me, because Jonathan has always been a character that, like, for me, like season 1, I liked him. Season 2, okay. He kind of went away a little bit, like a little bit for me, but
he lost himself a little.
Yeah, but that's exactly right, though, Jerry. He lost himself.
But
so
this
again,
is the big comeback.
Yeah, and now having our parties split up like we've talked about, like in this season, was really, really interesting that they did it that way. But I liked it because it worked. You had the Russia thing, you had the Hawkins thing, and then you had like the California people. And again, you get Susie back from season 3. Susie, which I love. So Susie, good. I love it.
Love
so
Susie.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, it worked. Again, you can see the budget goes up, the special effects, Vecna, all that stuff is so good. And I love that last shot. Like it's that whole finale was powerful. It was just really emotional. I mean, and John, like you were saying, like the whole season was emotional from beginning to end. I mean, especially for Max. Max, again, talk about those two actresses, like Millie and Sadie. Like, oh my God, so good.
So insane.
I think that was part of it because, like, we're living this season through Max, through 11, and through Hopper, right? And all of them are having a bad time. I didn't really have anybody to latch onto for fun.
Yeah.
So I think that was the missing part for me. Was it was all very, very serious. With the usual peppered in comedy, but it was definitely that things are really scary, so we're making jokes to cope kind of comedy, not necessarily actual, like, no, we're fun, we're fine, it's good.
It got really scary.
It got dark. It was
got
dark.
These kids. You've got the child soldiers that we have in Animorphs in this season.
Yes,
honestly.
actually.
Especially Nancy. Like Nancy was like ready to die. Like essentially, I thought Nancy was gonna die. Honestly, this season. I was scared to death. I love all of them. I don't want any of them.
I'm glad
I don't want anyone else to die.
Because I was wondering, but I was so afraid for all of those Mormon children. It's just and I love the biblical names too, like with Cornelius and everything. I was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They had fun with that one.
Oh,
But here's the thing, I'll take their cheaper by the dozen Mormons over the crazy like Bible bending Christians they have in this one, because that's it is very clear. At least they play it like, these are people manipulatively using these things to get what they want.
I mean, this is prime time for the Satanic Panic. This is
it's
during
just
the time
because because this is 86, right? Yeah.
So this is squarely like, I don't know, like, so real quick though, Gerry, was Vecna, that twist, was that big,
that's what we're talking about.
big and twisty for you, or?
Oh yeah, I mean, you start to put your mind's turning the whole time. You're like, is it? No, it can't be. It is. No, it's not. Oh, it is. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no. This is bad. This is really bad. Is kind of how my mind kind of went with that. But yeah, no, it was a big twist towards the end of that for me.
I feel like I missed out.
No, because you had me there who was giving you little like hints.
No, but that like
they were nudging you. Like whenever there was only one set of footprints Boop was carrying.
It wasn't like any big pushes though. It was like, I don't know. It was very.
I did say at one point, that's an interesting theory. No.
Yeah, you shut me down. You shut me down real fast on that one. Which, speaking of X-Men, was very X2 X United related.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. I feel as soon as they did the exercise. Oh, I think it was with the lights. I can't remember which one, but there's one where they're doing an exercise in Nina, in Elle's memories. And Dr. Brennen calls for the first in line, which is number 2.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, my brain instantly put like, wait, number 2's first in line. Number 1's not there.
Yeah.
Wait, number 1's the dorm brother. Number 1's the not warden,
Peter.
The janitor,
assistant.
He's the pseudo big brother attendant character.
I feel like they really did a good job with that. Like I think for that part of like, oh yeah, he might be one, but it was the whole like the one, he is one / Vecna, like that was the whole. Oh, okay. Okay, that was really
so for that. So I thought when young Robert Englund, which looks more like young Henry Winkler to me.
It's true.
when he's sitting in the den and sees the fireplace,
Yeah.
Mhm.
The
um,
cradle on fire.
yeah, I took that as, oh, that was like their kid, like their
Oh,
that was
okay.
their kid that they thought died, and
Mhm.
I don't know, somehow made it to the
Mhm.
upside down. I took it as that. So I was like, oh, it's their other kid, their other son. And
Mhm.
you specifically said there's
No.
no other son.
Yeah.
And I didn't put it together until later. Like, the kid was in a coma. Why was he in a coma? Why did he live? So it's just like
Mhm.
there was some twist and reveal,
Hmm.
but I feel like a good part of it, I guess,
Yeah.
with you kind of lighting the way, is just like, no, that makes sense.
Yeah. I feel like I had a unique reaction to Vecna.
Mm.
Because, like, first episode goes up in the credits, Jamie Campbell Bower. I know Jamie Campbell Bower from 2 movies, and that is Sweeney Todd and Twilight.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. I was gonna say, please say Twilight.
And in my mind, I'm like, what? Who is
Right.
this guy? Like,
Right.
what? And so when he shows up as Peter #1 Henry Vecna,
I guess if
I
you do
immediately
watch
just
the
went,
credits, it kind of spoils it.
God.
The credits do kind of spoil that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. That voice is incredible. He does such a good job.
It's
with the Vecna voice, it's
Yeah.
good.
so
It is
freaking
really good.
Freddy Krueger. It's
Mhm.
insane. And the fact that they actually got Robert Englund in there too and everything, like,
That's him in the suit too.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Can you imagine going through that much wet prosthetic?
I'd love it.
Yeah.
I'd be a character actor if I could.
There's something wrong there.
There's so many good pictures, behind the scenes pictures of him just chilling.
Yes.
in the
Sipping
Vecna
on like the
makeup.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
Sipping on the
So good.
Starbucks and everything.
And
It's
so
like, this is how I feel when I get home from work. you know?
Yeah.
I'd seen those things, and so I knew, like, obviously Vecna comes from someone. I knew that was going to happen, but yeah, it totally lost me on exact origins until it finally came through.
Yeah.
And I really like it because I love this, classic trope of, sometimes it doesn't work, but I like it's the evil antithesis of the hero.
Yeah.
He's literally just evil 11.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's exactly what the major players should be. It should be reflections of each other in a way.
I like how this season 2, it's like they win, but they also obviously lose.
Yeah.
Very, again, kind of Empire Strikes Back, where like we won, but we kind of lost too at the same time. So for me, like that, the final shots of them all together, like that felt like, oh, okay, good, we're back. We're
Which
back
was
together.
The best part. That's
Yes.
the good like oh, they're together.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Right.
Until
And
you
then
get
the
Steve
creepy
walking
music,
past.
and then you see everything
It's
going
all
on, and
literally breaks. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
it's so good. It's so
I
good.
could see season 5 being the first time they spend it all together.
I hope so.
Yes, I think they
Like,
should.
It's
I
the
think
return of it's the return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Yeah.
I think it has to be the way they do it, because it's just like, with this big of a bad and everything going on, I feel like the way to end it is together. Like you and Lo have mentioned, like, so much development has happened for each individual character. Great. I think they're all in their best form, right? So putting all of that together against whatever this evil is and how to stop it, I think, is the only way to go.
Yeah.
There are some things that I have learned in interviews with actors for going into season 5 that are a little upsetting. Because, like, you get Maya Hawke has said that she wants Robin to die in season 5.
I was really worried about her in this season. I don't know.
Joe Keery also wants Steve to die.
I could see that happening, actually.
I don't want it to happen. I don't want to see it.
Right.
Is like, oh, I want my character to have a meaningful death or something.
So
where they can live on and be happy.
So I hated how they went about it. But I do like that the main characters aren't untouchable.
Yeah.
Season 4
That's
makes
fair.
that very
That's
clear.
fair.
Yeah.
Mhm.
As you know, it's one of those things like, oh, bold choice. I hate it, but bold choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
It's not enough that we get to see Eddie die, but we get a scene with Dustin cradling Eddie while he's bleeding out and having the
forgot
most
about that
meaningful
till now. F
conversation,
you
and then
guys.
immediately afterwards, a conversation with Dustin and Wayne.
Yeah. Oh, that was the hard one. Well, see, so I mentioned earlier I was worried about Dustin because that scene in the field where he and Eddie are roughhousing.
Yeah.
And he's just like, promise me you'll never change. Like I took that heart to heart, and I took it the wrong way. I thought Dusty Boy was in danger. I was like, I didn't know if the Carver crew was going to come for Eddie and accidentally get Dustin. I didn't know if it was going to be the Dimabats or whatever, but I was like, I'm afraid. I'm scared for Dustin.
Yep.
And my fear was misplaced, apparently. But yeah, it still hurt nonetheless.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Max and Lucas.
Yeah.
Good stuff this season.
Finally.
Season 4. Yeah.
Finally,
yeah.
For me, because like I was glad when Lucas got Max as that relationship, because it's just like, okay, Lucas needs to go from being the one jealous of Elle to like something significant.
Yeah.
And Max gave him that. And now they get as much attention as Mike and Elle, and I loved that. I thought it was really good.
And again, though, that scene of him holding her,
calling.
That was so good.
And I think that's why it hurt so much. Is it's not like, so I had made terms with the Dear Billy, and I know they did this on purpose. Like with the Dear Billy episode, I made terms with it. That whole episode is to make terms with what's going to happen, right? And then it doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
They save Max.
An excellent needle drop, by the way. Another one.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be okay
all over
now.
this show.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be okay once they save Max, and it did not end up okay.
No, she turned into a pretzel.
It was so hard to watch.
That was, oh man.
And then even Elle
traumatized.
seeing it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even Elle seeing it from her, like in the void or whatever. Oh
yeah.
Because it was as much about saving Max as it was getting Vecna.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And to kind of fail at literally the two things they set out to do.
He's got considerably more
it's
bullet
tough.
holes.
Hmm?
He's got considerably more bullet holes now.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that Max revive, like that the gym leader pulls out that last minute where it's just like you think you're landing the final blow, and then all of a sudden it just comes back, and it's just
you were
like
going to beat the Elite Four.
Yeah, as soon as that fourth gate opens, apparently he's just all jazzed and juiced up now, and he's back to being his wet sopping self. And
so many wet slaps. I hate it.
It's so it honestly it kind of takes you out of it. There was one, I think it was in the prom scene when he shows up and starts walking towards Max. Yeah, and it's just like they couldn't pick a more sinister plep sound or something. So yeah, right. It was just
it
so
sounds sticky, and I don't like it.
Oh yeah. He's not
sensory nightmare.
Not pleasant to be hugged. Well,
it's not drying the upside down at all.
No, it's not clearly.
Apparently. Well, he better bring some moisturizer because he's coming to old dry Hawkins, apparently in this next season. So,
I would like to point out that the season 5 titles for the first 5 episodes have leaked.
Oh, really?
The first episode is called The Crawl. I'd like to think that is someone crawling out of the upside down.
Right, Eddie.
Please.
He's like, on second thought, I want to live.
I want my jacket back.
Oh,
I'm gonna come get it from Steve.
If Steve wears Eddie's jacket in the next season,
any idea how much fan art I have seen?
That'd be cool.
The beginning of next season is clearly just going to be because hell is on Earth now, so we're just going to be kicking ass the whole time, right?
It's going to be interesting. Yeah.
What do you think? Is it literally like because they're looking ominously on the hellstorm coming
Mhm.
through, but it's like, are we gonna get army versus zombies situation? Like,
Mhm.
what's the
I kind of
deal?
hope.
I mean, we're
I
gonna
don't
get
know.
8 or 9 episodes of this. How's it gonna last that long when Vecna's already kind of got what he wanted?
Yeah.
I feel like they have to obviously regroup a little bit, which obviously we get that at the very end. But I think they have to maybe they have to go back to the roots of the facility and like
Mhm.
look into that
Mm.
stuff. So I really hope for me that thread, the thread of Elle's sister that she hung out with, I want that to come back. And I want
Yeah.
her
Same.
to be like a part of it, like their abilities against Vecna or something like that. Like, or I would like that connection for somehow to come back. But I really do think,
Assembling an army. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
right, yeah. I really think Will though is going to play a pivotal role
He's
in
got to.
season 5. I really do. I think his connection to Vecna, I think, should not be like kind of side-eyed or like not thought about a lot, because I think it's important that he has that connection. And I think he is going to be the reason why they are able to eventually defeat Vecna. And it might be because of a sacrifice by Will. I hope not, because I love Will so much.
Don't
But
you
I
do
feel
that,
like
Kennedy.
I know, but I feel like his connection is very important. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
they're obviously, and it all began with Will,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think it all
yeah.
has to end, hopefully not tragically, but I think it has to end with Will too. I think he is an important part in why Vecna obviously was able to invade and cross over, but like Will's is pivotal. And I think, and I really hope he gets a big shine, big headlines in
Yeah.
season 5, along with Elle, because I think Elle's journey too. I think
Yeah.
that's got to come full circle, and I think we're getting that
For sure.
They
Yeah.
both need to find a better boyfriend than Mike.
Yes, 100%. 100% agree.
Yeah,
100% agree.
I mean, yeah, Mike's always been accessory to the main characters, which
He's a
like
very
you
good
mentioned,
accessory.
Ellen Will.
Right.
Ellen
He's
Will.
a
I
diving
think
bracelet.
season 1,
Not
season
bad.
2, Mike was good, but then again, I just feel like he's kind of fell off a little bit, maybe because of the new characters and everything like that.
Listen,
But I hope
that dude's
he's good.
dad. That dude's dad is Ted. Come
Yeah.
on, like
We know what he's gonna become.
he will enjoy his chicken. He will
Yeah.
enjoy his chicken.
I really want, like, I think what has to happen is like he's got to stop being joined at the hip with
Yeah. He's
like
got to go off on his own.
I think something has to happen where he does it for him. Like, yeah, he's the heart of the
Yeah.
team, but also
Mhm.
like he has to have a reason to be the heart.
Ooh, I just thought of the worst callback they could possibly do.
Mm.
So you remember in season 1 where the bullies have Dustin like up against and got the knife to his throat? You remember how Mike almost walks off a cliff
Mm-hmm.
for Dustin?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be just like an interesting callback to do in season 5, except he doesn't get caught?
How dare you?
Ooh.
Mike's the
dare
most
you.
okay character I am with letting go. I'm gonna go ahead and say.
Ted.
out of the main,
I'd let him go.
I can't like not say I wouldn't hate it.
Well, like,
I'd be
could give him a
sad.
big
I'd be
hero
sad.
The
You can
happiest
give him
ending
a
is
big
they
hero
all
moment
live,
for sure.
but if one of the original 4 has to go,
Yeah.
I think in a lot of ways, like, I mean, imagine a scenario kind of like that, but instead of Dustin, like 11's always the hero. They literally play that on here, and I kind of contended with that in season 4, where it's just like you're a superhero and all that. Like, I don't think there's much separating Mike and his fascination with what she can do versus the government and all this other stuff. Like, it's all eerily on the edge of manipulation.
Yeah.
Like, what if it's just like, no, you don't have to be the one. I can do this. Like, again, it can be like filled with valor and awesomeness that it happens, but it makes sense. I could see it.
Yeah.
I could see it.
Okay.
Trade him for
So
Max.
we're all in agreement. We'll sell Will to Vecna, and he'll go away. Right?
No. well, what I need them to do before they go hit up Vecna is they need to stop off and get Will a proper haircut.
Please, just
Oh,
Well, and it's
Shave
not
that
just
boy's
him. I don't
head
know if it bothered anybody else, but so many of them have not changed their hair. Like
Yeah.
Lucas is one of the only ones I think that's changed hairstyles.
Well, Mike grows his out.
Mike grows his out, Jonathan grows his out, but it's still the same thing.
True.
And like,
Mhm.
guys,
Nancy cuts her hair.
oh yeah, well, but but like
Steve just has
the
permanently
ones with the
perfect
most
hair.
ridiculous hair don't change. And I'm
True.
like, guys,
Yeah.
Well, Joyce Byers has a chair in her kitchen. She has a bowl, and she has a towel under the chair. Simple.
clearly. Yeah.
The boy's head gets bigger though,
Yeah.
so that's why it gets a little shorter.
I'm interested to see, like, again, are we jumping off, Jerry? Kind of like you said, are we jumping right to where we ended in 4? Like, I feel there's got, and
Mhm.
or do we do a little time jump? Does it take time for Vecna to like invade or like
through.
like there obviously has to be a point to where like they have to like obviously stop him, but that can't be the whole season. It can't just them be fighting him for like 9 episodes. Like there's got to be ways of them trying to figure out how to close it permanently and things like that. So that's
maybe
why
he's
I
already
really
taken
do that.
over. Right? You
True,
know, maybe
yeah.
maybe it's like a full on like he's in charge and we're the rebellion basically now.
Yeah. It
kind
could
of a
be.
thing.
It could be. And
It
are
could
we
be a
time
huge
jumping?
jump, but I
Yeah.
mean, it would be. I think it honestly, it feels like that with the way it ends. You know.
Yeah.
I just wonder if there's going to be some big, contention with the interdimensional stuff, because it's just like
Mhm.
typically in like those kinds of plot lines, it doesn't work where you just join the two sides. Like one goes away for the sake of the other. So it's almost like, it's like Vecna thinks that if he can, break through the dam, that he can just kind of take over the other side. But what if it's like, if they don't seal it in time, it puts both sides in jeopardy.
Right. There's got to be something to where like what is going on. There's like it can't just be like he's able just to walk in with like an army of like there's got to be some like interdimensional, things that have to happen maybe before he can able to do that. So yeah, I'm interested. I'm really interested to see where they like start off. Like, are we just jumping into it? Like you're saying, Jerry, like, cause that does make the most sense, right? Like if this is the final season, you kind of gotta get there.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can't really hold punches. Like you really have to get to the nuts and bolts of it really quick, I think. So, but we are all in Hawkins, and I'm really excited to be strictly in Hawkins for like this last season.
Kind of back to basics to a point.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like the writers have said that. I've heard them say that like this season they are kind of going back to the basics of like season 1, like where it's the group, it's the kid, it's their journey, it's them trying to figure out how to defeat this thing.
It makes the most sense.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so Return of the Jedi. It's gonna be. I'm telling you, right?
No, I agree.
Probably with
I
more
agree.
trauma, way more trauma.
So
that's what I'm worried about.
Is that we get a scene of Steve going into the Upside Down, like in Jabba's palace, finding a carbonated Eddie. So like, who are you? He loves you. And then I'm just saying, guys, Joseph Quinn is doing a lot of press for a show that killed him off.
His Demogorgon head.
Right.
Like,
I mean, we've seen crazier things be pulled off, man.
Yeah. I wonder if you kind of go harken back to Return of the Jedi, right? A big thing was Vader turning. Is it one of those situations where we get Vecna and like El's able to connect with him? You know what I'm saying? Like, do we do something like that?
Yeah.
I don't want it either, but I'm just saying, like,
they get
do we get
smashed
that kind of like
Sorry.
weird? Like, do we get that kind of like, story or whatever? What if it's Ted?
What if Ted sacrifices himself for a boy?
Well, I mean, look, I could see maybe El tries to do that, but I don't personally see, especially with the trajectory of that, I don't see him making the turn at all.
Right.
But it would be interesting, man. Can you imagine if they did that with Vecna and not Ben Solo? God damn! I mean, come on.
Vecna
lives, really? Like, come
Right.
on.
If you could
Well, not lives, but like is able to talk. Like L again,
comes
maybe
to-
like in
yeah.
his like a kind of a Luke Vader,
Interesting.
like you were
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
like I shouldn't have done this, and like
Yeah.
something like that. To like maybe Vecna's the one that has to sacrifice himself to like destroy everything
Mhm.
or something like that. Like
I'm gonna
It's a-
allow it, although I want him to be smashed by like a tanker truck or
agreed,
something. Like,
agreed.
sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm sorry.
I mean, no, yeah, like he has been the source of a lot of pain for me this
Mhm.
season. I think they have planted him firmly irredeemable. I think
Yes, I
they
agree.
had the best shot before he had
It would
like
be interesting,
buckshots planted in his head. Like, it's like,
Mhm.
And then set on fire with a Molotov.
I might have been on
Yeah.
the fence, but once you shot me, I was firmly planted. Like,
Yeah.
but I do wonder what that kind of twist is going to be. That sort of
Mhm.
last minute, you think it's going to go this way, but it goes this way moment. Even if it's not redemption, I feel like something's going to happen that throws us off. That's why I say, like, we expect Elle or Will to make the sacrifice. They're integral to the
Mhm.
story. What if it's someone else?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then, I mean, there's obviously Max to contend with, and
Mhm.
what the implications
Yeah.
are there. Supposedly she's here, but
Mhm.
not here. Then where is she? And what does her coming back possibly look like? Because I really, 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 really don't want a Lucas and Vegetable love story. Like, I need Max back.
Right.
Like, that would be too sad for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, this is it. This is what I love. I love that I never know, even being able to click right to the next season.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing going from season 1 to 2 to 2 to 3, 3 to 4. And now, like with this next one, the anticipation building of what could possibly happen.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit. It's incredible that,
Yeah.
they've got, I don't envy them for how much they've got to come up with.
Mhm.
Because we aren't the only ones eagerly waiting what they're going to do and how they're going to end this epic journey with the
Mhm.
Hellfire Club.
Now, I thought I read or heard that they want, like, in a perfect world, they would have shot season 4, season 5, like pretty much almost together, or like very like quick. Like
Yeah, you could
so
tell in a
yes,
way that
yes,
that's what it looks like. That it looks like Lord of the
it
Rings.
feels that way, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It definitely feels that way. So I'm interested to see, like, again, how long, because I mean, we know obviously with what really, with COVID and all that, with everything like that, production got slowed down, and obviously we had to wait a little longer than we wanted to. But them wanting to do, again, in the original plan of them going kind of back to back, like, I wonder if this gives them time to maybe tell a different story than they would have if they would have just did it like back to back. So I'm really interested to see how they wrap this all up. And then, do we get spinoffs? Do we get this? Do we get that? Like, I mean, I think, again, you can do a lot of things within this property if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
And which
For
would be
sure.
cool. I would love. I mean, I love this world that they have built for Stranger Things. But yeah, season 5 is going to be a emotional roller coaster. I think we can. I think we can
Gonna
say
be big.
that for 100% certainty.
Yeah, absolutely.
That it will be.
It's going to be big, and I'm not sure yet how long we'll have to wait. I don't know if it's going to be late this year or just all the way into next summer. Death Star and Hawkins.
I mean, I don't hate it.
I'm here for it. As long as the teddy bears are Care Bears, I'm here for it.
Oh, for sure.
I call it I call it the Mind Flayer 2.
It's made of
Absolutely.
even bigger rats.
Half meat,
Less
half
handrails.
shadow.
Right. This one's made of bears. Like, oh god. Right. Yuri, better watch out. Anyway. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I foresee many sobbing phone calls with Gerry in the future.
It's going to be big. And, we have not just spent 2.5 hours talking about 4 out of 5 seasons to not revisit it when it happens.
Oh, for sure.
Um,
We're gonna get the band back together. Don't you worry.
yeah. All the lovely members. So it'll be interesting coming back around and seeing how close or how far we are off the mark of what they end up doing to wrap this story up. I don't
cut
envy.
back to us emotionally destitute.
Right. Just like
year.
right. And it's it got worse. I don't envy endings. It's hard. And another beloved franchise is coming to an end soon as well. Fast and Furious is wrapping it up here with Fast 10 and 11. So
a lot of endings this year.
Honestly. Yeah. It's the time, man. It's just new eras are upon us, but we've got to hopefully get the happiest ending we possibly can. So I'm foolishly optimistic. That's
listen. My prediction is we're gonna go full on 80s finale.
I love it. I love it.
Honestly, I think it's gonna be with a little trauma. Have a little bit of the trauma sprinkled on top.
Yeah, I want them to learn from what they did with Master of Puppets, like that epic moment.
It was so good.
Yeah, like that, but for 30 more minutes. Like
and then you don't die.
Right. Yeah, let's do that for the whole finale. That was just
Can someone last an entire season after being introduced? Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the best part about endings is it's just like if they survive season 5, they're good.
Yeah.
They're good.
No.
Untouchable. Oh my gosh.
Icky.
I hope not. I hope not. Oh gosh.
Nancy for the win.
Oh yeah, I'm totally team Jonathan and Nancy. I think they're adorable and I hope they work it out. Obviously Steve's heart sworn to Eddie, so it's just like she can't have him. She just can't have him.
I meant to talk about it when we were starting in season 2. Like there's a reason that Steve Harrington is my favorite character, and it is because he is constantly trying to improve himself to be a better person for everybody else, not just himself. And then you get every single person in the G-Dang show calling him an idiot except for Eddie.
Right. No,
Eddie's
just like, dude, you're amazing.
I know.
Oh, true love.
That's
love.
why they're in love.
Well, before we wrap up, obviously got to turn it over to you guys and let you plug your stuff because you guys are up to some pretty cool things. And so
you're up to something.
Yeah. So got to let the people know where to find you, all that good stuff. So Gerry, what you got going on and where can the peoples find you? You got your @ there, obviously, for those watching. That's lovely.
Very the picture of professionalism here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. No, you can find me pretty much every Thursday on the Bombad cast with one Scoots McNeely J-Ro. I don't know why I put McNeely in the end there. But we go on there, we talk about weird stuff. This next week we're gonna be talking about Quantumania. We're gonna do one of our fancy, we go watch the movie and then come right back and just regurgitate our love for what we just watched on the screen. And awesome. So come for that next week. But yeah, and then follow me at the Canon Junkie. So
yeah, absolutely. Get more Gerry in your life for sure.
Please do.
You've been on.
I'm the droid on Ionized Bastards as well, by the way. Sorry, on Local First Order. So
yes, if you're not following at Local First Order, the one Michael Madola, and his
Mr. McBoy,
his lovely content. You should be doing that. And as much as Lo and Gerry have been on, if you're not following them, that's your loss. But you should fix that.
Come on, guys.
They're amazing. And speaking of amazing, Lo, what you got going on that the people can find you?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. This was so much fun. I can't wait to talk season 5.
By the way, your contracts,
it's so much fun.
Contracts are in the mail. You're signed in. You're locked in for the next 6 years. So there
awesome.
you go.
We're just gonna cry. We're gonna cry for
just 2.5 hours.
Same amount of time.
Right.
Calling it now.
But yeah, no, you guys can follow me on Twitter and Hive at Loro Knows. And then I am part of the Galactic Podcast with my cousin Andrea. And we are on Twitter and Hive at the Galactic Pod. And we talk Star Wars, man. We talk Andor. We talk Bad Batch. And everything and anything in between. So we are on Apple Pod, Google Play, Spotify, all the major platforms. So go check us out. We have some fun over there.
Yeah. Lo is one half of the brilliance, and you make our show so much more pleasant, and you elevate it so much whenever you're here. Appreciate you. So
love
definitely
you
go
guys.
check out Galactic Podcast and Bomb Bad Cast.
You said that's so
more so the Galactic Podcast, less so Bombad Cast, because like you very niche audience. I'm just saying. Regurgitate is not I did not choose that word to be funny. Regurgitate is that's in our lexicon.
We let you know what you're getting into right out the gate.
Right now.
Do you still have the You Stay Bombad in here?
Do I?
Oh, I hope
so. Please, I hope so.
Oh wait, no, but I don't. But vamp, because I can get it in here real quick.
You get when you subscribe to the Bombad Cast, you get contraband, you get glow sticks, whatever you need. They'll get it for you.
Ketchup bags.
Do you guys still do guitar picks? Because I've got Bombad guitar picks.
It's true.
I think we could probably do them again.
You say Bombad.
That's my boy Scoots. That's my boy Scoots. Gonna go witness and actually perform his nuptials in a couple months. So
oh my gosh, it's incredible. It's crazy. Love that guy. But yes, check out our lovely guests and all their lovely places, and you can check us out next week talking about finally. The one and only Count Dooku.
Okay, that's what we're talking about.
We promised it a couple of weeks ago, had to have a schedule change, but it turned out. Yeah, you know what? But, I said it and he tests it every time. I'm just like, hey, buddy, we'll move heaven and earth to get you on. And boy, does he require it. But it's okay. He's totally worth it. And so we're excited, still as excited as we were when we first announced it, but this time it's happening, and looking forward to diving into very regal, very interesting character that is Count Dooku, and it's gonna be good, gonna be interesting. Love when we get the time to do little character deep dives and whatnot. So yeah. Bound to be fun. So if you're listening to this in the future, just remember you can check this out live every Sunday at 8 for as long as we decide to keep doing this. Until
it's not fun anymore.
Whether you're watching or listening, we appreciate you, because boy howdy, 2.5 hours of Stranger Things content. You deserve a medal if you made it through this whole episode. But
I get a medal.
Yeah, yes, you do. The medal is getting to listen to our lovely guests and all their brilliance. And
you deserve at least 10 hours more of this kind of
there's a director's cut,
right?
Frankly. Yes, subscribe now, and you can get the bonus religious trauma package that we had before this started. But no, seriously,
it's like a respite from the trauma of the show.
Right. Why talk about a show that traumatized you when you could talk about life that traumatized you? No.
All right.
Well, always a pleasure to visit this world of escapism with you guys, chat, and all that lovely stuff. You're locked in. We'll see you again for season 5, but hopefully as well before then. And hopefully everyone listening, watching will be there as well.
Stay scooping.
Stay strange.
Scoop that troop.
Scoop.
Strange scooping. Strange scooping.
Wait a minute. You know, this is, excuse me, a damn fine cup of coffee.